All right, you know what? I started the last 3. You can start this one. I give you permission.
Okay.
I give you permission.
You give me permission.
I do.
Well,
and I'm tired of pretending I don't.
I'm back.
Are you?
Whoa!
He's back.
I'm back, baby.
The return.
The arms are so sore.
The king. Yeah. Did you? Oh, you blew my joke. So you flew in on Sunday.
Flew in on Sunday.
And boy, are your arms tired.
So tired.
How was the flight? Is it long? Is it like 6-7 hours?
Getting there was quite long. I went to New Zealand.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you say you went to New Zealand?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
But I went to New Zealand.
Went to NZ.
And so that's why, I've like to been calling in my headcanon, the last like 3 weeks of the show has been like the specials. The January 2023 specials.
Yeah, my Chris Chibnall right now.
Where I'm away and Conor is just like doing what he can, bringing everyone on, making the show survive.
Yeah, that's true.
And now I feel like we're properly kickstarting our 2023 season with today.
Which is good. It feels nice to be back here.
It does. It does.
It feels nice to be back with you, filming in the studio with my normal... Not saying my other co-hosts, my guests were like bad. They're all lovely. But it is nice to be back. It feels like home, all right?
It is home.
I'm back home, which is
home.
nice. I missed it, okay?
Yeah.
Also got a new mic stand.
It's red because you go fast.
You got to go fast.
Is that when I didn't...
And Aidan didn't edit it in the Who's There episode, apparently. So if you want to do it now, you can. He's been on holiday, though.
Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast, too fast, too fast, faster, faster.
Surprised they didn't copyright you for that.
Sorry, I'm rusty, aren't I? I'm a bit rusty.
Sometimes with RAM, you get like a copyright strike from a theme you use.
Yeah,
That's nice. Is that from duty free or New Zealand?
So this was a present for me on my birthday. I'm drinking Giniversity gin today. So we'll give that one a crack. Just opened it. Do you want a whiff of it?
Oh god, oh god, that smells like you had those like things in toilets with the sticks hanging out of it, like they're like not air. They're
yes, that scent,
like
the little
the sentient thing. It smells like that.
Sentient.
Like I could see. Huh?
You said sentient, which means it has a mind of its own. You know, like
it does, man. It does. Do you ever go on a tour and you're like, it smells like we're sentient in here, you know? What's going on? Wait, how long was the flight then? Was it like...
Yes, I was about to say.
7 hours?
Going there, we had a brief stopover in Melbourne.
Okay, yeah.
It was like 3 hours to Melbourne, 3 hours to...
Did you do anything in Melbourne?
No, it was like a few hours in the airport kind of thing.
Go to Starbucks?
Not in Melbourne, but we got plenty of Starbucks in New Zealand.
Okay.
Those flights were fine. It was just really... Oh, God, that's a frothy tonic. It was just really tiring because we flew out at like 10:50 and I barely slept. I tried watching Bodies on the plane, which is... It's good.
That's for Pete in it, isn't it? That was A24, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah. But I was so tired and I was like, I'm not giving this movie a proper go. And so getting there felt rough just because of like the time of the flight. Coming back was great timing. We flew out. I think our flight was at like 11:50 a.m. and then we landed in Perth like 2 p.m.
Okay.
5 hours time difference. And that flight was a shaky flight, a shaky, bumpy flight. There was one point like 20 minutes before we landed, and you start your descent quite a while before. And the plane literally dropped so fast.
I hate that.
That like
you feel like on a roller coaster almost.
Everyone on the plane was like, "Whoa!" And like the air hostesses fell over and stuff. It was like, gee, like it was. That's like the biggest. I've been in worse like periods of turbulence than that, but that was like the worst singular like bump of turbulence I've had. Like it was. That's spooky.
Scary. Sometimes when I'm on a flight, like I freak myself out because I'm like, I'm so high up right now. What if I'm the unlucky person who dies? Like, I'm like, what if this is actually...
I always think like, there's not been a plane crash in like a year.
Yeah, now...
We're kind of due on...
God's kind of like rubbing his hands together going... I think my mum used to say to me to make me feel better that apparently you're more likely to get like struck by lightning than to be in like a plane accident. I don't know if that's accurate,
but it's like
it made me feel better.
You're more likely to have a car accident than you are to have a plane crash. So
yeah, but I feel like car accidents are more frequent. Like that's
what I mean.
Is that the point then? Yeah, true. Yeah,
you got more risk of having a car accident driving your car than you do getting in a plane.
It's just scary though. Like I think I've only been on a plane since COVID like once, and that was to go to Exmouth, and it just like it wasn't very long, but it kind of terrified me.
I think it's that lack of control.
Yeah,
like you have no control over what happens.
I was like, what if I have like an anxiety attack, like, and I Did I tell you the time my granddad was flying to Turkey and a bloke ran up and tried to open the emergency door?
Oh my god!
And it made the news. It made like worldwide news.
I think you did
my
tell me
granddad
that
was on that flight.
Wow.
And apparently we were like, you're right, Granddad? He's like, yeah, it was fine. And we're like, didn't you question anything? And he's like, no, not really. Apparently you just like, because I'm always worried, like, you see that emergency door, I'm like, what if there's a nutcase on this flight?
Yeah.
But I think you have to like, to open that door, I don't think it's as simple as pulling like a lever.
No, there's a couple of things. So
There have to be a couple of things.
me and Nick sat in the emergency seats.
They
for
got
one of the
better
flights.
leg room.
Better leg room. So I picked those.
Yeah, there you go. And if it crashes, you're like, all right, we're first to
Straight
go
out.
out. Like,
But
let's go.
Before takeoff, one of the hostess is a pretty outdated word, isn't it? I'm trying to think of what just a flight attendant.
There's
comes up.
much less, I think, nicer words. Yeah.
Yeah. A flight attendant will come up and they'll be like, okay, so this is how you open this door. And they'll run you through a few things. And they'll be like, in a case
Were you
of an
drunk when she
emergency-
said this?
No.
You were, bro. I've got Snapchats of you drinking fucking piss before you got on
I
the
had a locked
flight.
in before the flight. This was the second flight.
Oh, okay.
They walk you through how to open the door and things like that. And we were sat there, and the guy in the seats in front of us, he kept just storing his stuff in the handle of the door, and it was like,
No.
bro, like you can't do that. Like I just kept watching it, and Nick kept looking at me like,
no.
is he gonna open the door?
No.
Like he put his phone in it, and it would just keep falling out, and he'd just try and put it back in. I'm like, bro, put your phone in your pocket or in the seat in front of you. You don't need to use that little crevice in the door. Anyways, we're a Doctor Who podcast,
Are we?
and we've got a new look.
Is that out yet?
It will be out when this episode comes out. Everything's-
Sensational.
It's all yellow.
We're going to do our photo shoot soon as well.
Oh, we do need to do an update.
I want to get a fresh cut for that, so let me know when you want to do it. I don't want to look
and get some headshotty vibes for it or whatever. But what do you think of the
one
new
of
look?
those like back like this together, like
Yes.
like a band.
Band.
Yeah, do you like the new look?
It's very different than the past look. You know, we kind of got like a yellowy look, whereas the past was very space orientated. This is like you're looking at a beer.
Well, it's a beer, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a beer. The whole thing's a beer.
And you made it on holiday, and I said to you,
did.
"Stop working, go have fun."
Look, here's the channel art,
That is good. So is that all for YouTube as well?
podcast. Yeah. So
I think it's great. I actually really do like because art's key.
and then that's the profile.
I think the problem is like I could tell that every like Doctor Who YouTuber or podcaster was going to make stuff that looked quite similar, and that's kind of what happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, like
That's why I wanted to
didn't-
make something a lot different.
yeah, I
like this.
respect that because I was like, if we're gonna like everyone's like trying to get like the Paw Patrol logo,
Yeah.
60th logo, which is fine.
And everyone
But I
does
was like, oh god,
the space thing for obvious reasons. The space, same with Star Wars podcast. They all have the space thing. It's what we've been doing.
Mm.
But I was like, I want to stand up, my man. So now we're bright yellow, whether you like it or not.
yeah, it's staying. So
It is staying.
it's our third year this year on the show. So
It is. It's huge.
yeah, no, it's good now. Well, it's gonna be a bright dude. This is the year of the 60th. How did you feel getting RTD?
5 hours before you.
5 years. You've already seen
New
it.
Zealand was 5
Yeah,
years
5 years
of
ahead.
Perth.
You did some proper time travel, didn't you?
I did 5 hours of time
Did you
travel.
have a good New Year's?
The first New Year's in the world, mate. New Zealand.
Yeah, I didn't know that when
That's
you
a
said
good
it to me.
flex.
So
Yeah.
you really did get RTD before everyone
I got
else.
RTD
You actually
2023
did.
before everyone else.
Yeah, okay.
No.
How'd that feel? On top of the world? Or?
Yeah, it was great. You know, just seeing all the RTD stuff that we got.
You got the episode which dropped at 12:01.
But New Year's was good. We were quite drunk.
Yeah, cool.
Watched
Yeah.
some fireworks. Went to a couple of different pub parties and stuff like that.
Yeah, cool. No, it looked
It's very
fun.
good. How was your New Year?
Oh, not great. That's okay.
Was it a quiet one?
It was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the best. I don't know. Yeah, it was probably my most quiet New Year's in like years and years. So yeah, I'm definitely not going to do that this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was pretty bad actually. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
but that's okay. You know, upwards and onwards. It was all right.
that's
I'm glad
correct.
you had a good time. I'm glad other people had a good time as well. It seemed like everyone was having a good time, but me. So it was hard not to. It was hard not to think about it. But yeah, no, it was fine. It was all right.
And I feel like I've spoken about myself a little bit. Do you want to? How have you been?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, no. I've said on socials there's some stuff going on at the moment. I might divulge into it in other episodes. I won't do that now. But it's been a hard start to the year. But the good thing is, I think, for the most part, I've stayed, I don't want to say like positive, but I've stayed optimistic. I don't feel positive right now, but I feel optimistic for the future. I didn't want the start of the year to start the way it did, but it did. And which sucked because I had so many like good goals and like some good stuff coming up, but I was like, oh, it'd be dope to like do all this stuff this year. And then I had a bit of a bombshell quite early on, which was hard. And I had to film as well and take over the show.
You're spinning a lot of plates.
Yeah, but in a way it was like a double-edged sword because it kept me really busy, but also it was pretty hard to just handle it all.
Yeah.
And I guess in the end it was like maybe like my own fault because I did like a bonus episode, but like I really wanted to like just get out the house and I don't know, just
do things.
Yeah, like
sure. As
much as work's kind of like sucked at the moment, like it's helped, you know.
Okay.
So
good distraction.
Yeah, no, but yeah, I think yeah.
Well, we're back.
We're back.
We're gonna have some fun talking about the pilot today.
Yeah, I'm very excited. We haven't hit a. Well, we did Mysterio, but before that, it was a long time since we spoke about like an actual
between our weekly
episode.
reviews. So it's
key, man.
It is good. Today, we're gonna talk about the pilot, and then we're also gonna talk about little bits of newsy little things.
Sluggy boy.
Mainly, it's a lot of stuff you've probably already heard. So we're not gonna go too in detail.
We spoke about it on the show, like when you were away as well.
Yeah, there's a couple of other little things that.
It's nice. It's nice to. It's also nice to get your opinion about it because I feel like we've only really spoken through like text about how we're doing.
And I feel like I've not said anything about my thoughts on these things. I'll send them to you, but I don't really comment on them.
Just quickly, I want to apologize for getting something fucking wrong in the Sharda review. I got casting wrong.
Failure.
My head is just not there at the moment. I apologize. I re-apologize actually. I made a mistake. All right.
You got the.
I'm not sorry.
Wrong, right?
It happens. All right. I made a mistake. I'm human. Okay.
No, you're not.
I'm not human, and I'm not sorry.
Yes.
All right.
That's it.
Turn it off now.
Let's go.
I just made a mistake. All right.
We all
and
make mistakes.
I refuse to apologize for it. But I am sorry if like it was like what upset me was like I really hope people now don't think that is the casting and then they told someone else because I think I saw it on like Twitter. Someone said that he's from Dunkirk, and then I was like, oh, the guy from Dunkirk was from Bandersnatch, and I just like, I shouldn't get my news from Twitter is what I'm trying to say.
That's correct.
But you know, anyway.
But what you can get from Twitter is a lot of theories, which brings me to the number one thing I want to talk to you about today. Heard a lot of people saying this. A lot of people had this same idea. I think we've all been thinking it. Is Ruby Sunday Kate Stewart's daughter?
Yeah, that's a good point, isn't it?
Yeah, have you seen that floating around?
I have, yeah. Is it because they're both blonde, or
that's it? That's literally the reason.
And they speak to each other on the set.
We've seen them having.
They have scenes together.
Yes,
oh my
which
god,
means they're related.
Good G, yeah, they must be related.
They've said in one of her early stories, Kate says she has children, and
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I just saw some photos.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Is that from Power of Three or something?
I think it's in Power of Three. Might be in Pete's first one with her. I don't know. But and just like...
Oh, I didn't know that.
The way they're just like catching up for a coffee kind of thing is like, mysterious. Like are they just having a coffee, but that's before she's like with the doctor, or is she with the doctor at this time? We know that the 2 episodes that they have been shooting, I think is like 4 and 5 is what they have been shooting.
Yeah, I'm interested about the block.
They've not shot the Christmas special yet.
Okay, I was so okay. Yeah, a few things. I was so interested about what kind of block it was, and also I was interested about if they had finished shooting the Christmas special or they just haven't started filming.
I don't think they've shot it yet.
Okay, let's probably all right. So we saw the crew wearing Santa's hats.
Yeah,
and we probably thought they're shooting the Christmas special, but they might have just been happened to be
it was like
filming
December 15th
at Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No. I think. Okay. So Ruby Sunday. What if it's actually just like, you know, we've been saying for a while, you know, Russell has been chucking out a load of like what do you call them, like decoys or something like that,
like red herrings.
Yeah, like, you know, like stuff that's not really true. Hey, maybe it's Ruby Stewart. Because Ruby Sunday is like a pretty standard ass name, but that's kind of all of Russell's characters.
Yeah, we don't know.
There's a Martha Jones and a
Joe Jones.
And like literally a Yanto Jones and a Mickey
Yeah.
Smith and a Sarah Jane Smith, you know.
John Smith.
And a John Smith. So it might just be that. But no, I think so.
I think the
a good
prospect
theory.
of that, I actually hope that's the case, purely because Kate being back, I love Kate, she's great, but
Dude, how good is that?
I think it's pretty fair to say, like, she's been pretty bland. Like they don't really know what to do with her in the new episodes. She's there because she's a familiar face and she's the head of unit. And I love seeing her, even when she's there for a line or just in a next time trailer, like in Fox.
And that's how we find out she's in the next episode,
But I wish... we need some interestingness. We need a reason to care a bit more, I think. And I think that would be a nice little touch. And you're almost... You know, we've almost then got like a lineage of Lethbridge Stewards, you know?
Yeah, it's a good point you make. Like, considering how much the Brig was a part of Doctor Who, like, you know, we never really got to see like the Stewart family. Like, what happened to his wife from Battlefield? Yeah. So okay,
Yeah.
because that would have been Kate's mum.
That would have been Kate's mum. Yeah, yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, there you go. You've now
So
seen Kate's mum.
I think what also made people's like brains tick a little bit that Ruby and Kate were related is that you're right, they are sitting down like having like a coffee, but from the scene, like Kate's phone goes off, or I think she's wearing like an earpiece and she gets called away, and Ruby seems very annoyed by it.
Yes, that's what I read as well. So maybe it is like, you know, you don't have any time for me, mum. You're off doing things. Yeah.
Or we could just be reading into it and like Ruby's like really sassy and it's just like, finish telling me what you're saying or something like that. I don't know. But like, so you said there's theorizing this is episode 4 and...
I think it's 4 and 5. I think
So it's a two-parter?
Well, no, not necessarily. The filming blocks can
Just
be...
like they could be filming episode 4 and episode 5. Okay.
Yeah. So what we have seen... So the main stuff that we've seen shooting at the moment is the Kate stuff, and then we see the Albion stuff, which is... is that the actor whose name you got wrong or something last time?
Who I'm not sorry about.
Who's obviously like a political candidate or...
Yeah,
or
so
something.
we're getting the Russell political shit.
There's got to be something more to it, because he's done it in
Is it
Who with
Brexit or
Saxon.
something?
He's done it with Years and Years. So I'm like, he must be doing something new with it.
Even Aidan's in London.
Yeah. he
Green
always does it.
parasites in Downing Street. Like, I think that's really cool. Yeah, no, I think it's a really cool idea. What do you think of the big sluggy boy?
I think the big sluggy boy is going to look a lot better once they've done the Beep the Meep to him, and he's a completely different CGI creature when you see him.
Right, okay.
I remember when I saw that Beep the Meep prop, I was like, oh,
The
God.
big fuzzy ball.
I know it's kind of funny as Beep the Meep, but it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
But then the CGI version looks amazing.
Yeah.
And so I'm imagining the lifeless slug that we see going around eating children is going to be a CGI slug.
Is it eating children? Because I think, like, was it you who told me that they seem to be like, oh no, I think I read this, like, it seems to be like mind control or something. Or
Well, we
like,
saw it like absorbing a kid.
almost like absorbent. Yeah.
Like it like wrapped its little tentacle things around a kid.
Yeah.
Sucked it in.
There's like there's a shot of someone like walking into a pole. So I wonder if it's like mind control and they're just like, I'm grasping at straws here. I don't know if you can
That's
tell.
what we do as Doctor Who
That's what we
fans.
do. But no, I think it looks really interesting. And it's interesting that Russell is I gotta stop saying the word interesting. I think
It's interesting that you think.
I think it's interesting that I think it's great that Russell's doing like maybe a bit of a Children of Earth type thing. Bring the kids back into it. Kids are creepy.
Kids are
They're
creepy.
scary. They get mind controlled. They're doing a lot of shooting at like a university in England as well.
I
I'm not
love all
sure
the
if that would be
practical
a part of,
shooting we're seeing, like on location stuff.
Dude, 100%.
I like it's probably because we just had COVID, and so a lot of Flux was on green screens at behind closed doors. That's no dig at all at the late Chibnall era, but it just feels like so long since we've
That's
had
savage,
like,
Aiden, you said that.
it just feels like so long since we've had like endless.
No, it's really
location
nice.
shooting.
It is really nice. I'm glad that they're... Because as well with the 60th, like, so much of it had to be hidden, and I assume just because of spoilers. Well, not assume, it is because of spoilers, mostly. So to actually have the actual location shooting is so lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we ate it up with the 60th shooting.
Did you love the 60th trailer as much as I did?
Yeah, no, I was telling you this week, man, it keeps me going. I think it's dope. I still stand by the fact that I think it was like too early. I know people didn't like it that I said that. Do you not like that I said that?
No, you're allowed to say that. I don't not like that you said that.
People didn't. It was Boxing Day. I was tired. I'm sorry. Everyone was like, "How dare you say that?"
I think like
They didn't show anything. It's a minute long. My brother in Christ, we saw heaps, but it's okay.
It was clear that RTD just wanted to give us a Christmas gift.
Yeah, I agree. It's good.
And I love that. And I don't think they showed us that much. I really don't.
Yeah, I guess.
It's a lot.
Well, when we see it, we'll find out.
But the thing is, basically everything that we saw, other than like a few shots, is all stuff that we saw location shooting of. So it's literally just showing us the nicer version of the set pics that we've already seen a lot of the time.
I guess
like,
so.
We're finally seeing just the set pics, but in the way that they were intended to be seen.
I guess my point is, as much as I wanted to see it, I could have waited.
Yeah, that's...
I could have waited. I feel like I could have waited for like maybe like April or something. I don't know. I just feel like I could have like, as much as I love it and as much as I feel like I'm seeing it from a completely different angle from everyone else, but I think like I could have waited to I want it now, but I know I have to wait anyway. And I feel like what does worry me a little bit is I feel like we're going to have now like 10 months of speculation and that can be a bit scary sometimes because we're going to hype it up in our heads so much. And not that I think it's not going to be good, but I definitely think we'll have a similar reaction to what we had to the 50th when we first watched it and go, I'm not sure how I feel.
Yeah.
And what worries me as well is because we're going to watch it the first time, come here and review it, and then I don't want to say I didn't like it when I then go home and rewatch it and then find out I do really love it.
I don't know. I think part one we might be disappointed in because I think part one is what we know things about. Like part one is obviously going to be focused on Donna getting her memories back. I don't think there's going to be that many new things that we haven't seen. Whereas I think come part three is probably when we'll see, the rumor of Susan returning or like other companions or other doctors. I think part three is when all that stuff's going to come into play.
Is that another red herring though, you reckon? The whole Susan thing?
The rumor that Susan's back? I don't know. Did Russell say anything about Susan coming back?
You sent to me. You said BBC posted a pic of it and he said whatever happened to her.
Yes, that's right. He commented on a Doctor Who post. I don't know.
He always does that.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think...
He's a fan of the show, guys. Come on.
I don't know. I'd like to think that... I'd like her to come back. I think out of everything...
the original actress or like...
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's got to be her.
How old is she now?
I reckon she'd be in like her...
Similar
either
like
late
Ian Chesterton.
70s or low 80s. Now, Chesterton is 98 because he's an older dude.
Okay.
He's like in his 30s in the show.
It would be weird if they didn't use her.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like it's an opportunity. Like, we don't know... she's obviously not, like, very, very old or anything like that. She could still potentially be here for the 70th. And it's, like, just an opportunity whilst, she's around and clearly willing and able to have her come back and do it.
So he's not really lost the Time Lords if, like, she's been around.
What a liar. Doctor's such a liar, right?
It's just funny, though, because, like, you forget she was even around. And I think... So she got mentioned in Rings of Akaton, and then we actually see a picture of her in the pilot. It made me think. I was like, this is such a huge part of the Doctor's history.
Yeah.
And it's like, if she was out there, I don't see why. And he literally does say, one day I'll come back.
That's what I was about to say. Her departure from the TARDIS team itself...
like 10,000 years.
Which I like, but her departure from the TARDIS team itself implies, a reunion in the future. It's always like, it's a story that's just begging to be there. Like out of everything in Doctor Who, that's the one loose end that's just like begging to be picked up. Everything else I don't give a shit. Like Timeless Child, yeah, come back to it if you want. Also, probably don't. But like Susan, it's like, yes, let's do it.
But I think plots like Timeless Child and after watching Trial of the Time Lords, I think the biggest thing I've learned in the last like year of watching Who, or last 2 years, is that it doesn't make sense. And I think the sooner you realize that and come at peace with that, the better.
Yeah.
Because you can say Timeless Child, like, I don't know if you watched the Snares episode, but I said, like, how Colin's doctor says 900. That really rubbed me the wrong way because I was like, it's 906 in Voyage of the Damned.
Well, I'm guessing
It's 6 years, and I like doesn't make sense. Whatever, and I just got over it, and I was like, whatever. Like,
maybe Colin was rounding up. Maybe Colin's like 890, and he was like basically 900.
Yeah,
That's
but-
when I get my pensioners package, so I'll say I'm 900.
That's what I mean. No, it doesn't make sense, and I think the sooner we learn that and accept it, I think the better. Are you surprised I watched Trial?
I am surprised you watched it in the short period that you did, because I know you grounded it out in like a few days. And when you said you were going to do it, I was like, he's going to do it. I know he will. And then it got to like a week before, and you were like, I haven't started yet. And I was like, bro, it's Christmas. You haven't started.
Yeah,
Like,
it
what?
took a while. That's for sure.
And you got there. Well, that's nice. I didn't. Yeah, was it worth it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Well,
I'm
that's
really
nice.
glad I watched the whole serial. Have we even played the intro yet?
No, well, that's what I was about to say. This is the longest intro of all time.
Christ on a bike.
So let's move on to onto the show, shall we?
Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody,
We're back.
we're back.
And
we
we
are
ain't
so
going
dark on the
anywhere.
camera. I'm going to fix that.
Oh my days, we are.
You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at 50Doctor.
Bet you can.
Subscribe to us on the 50 Doctor Who Podcast YouTube channel now with a brand new look. We'd like to get to 1,000 subscribers at some time in the next few months.
Yeah,
So-
by April the 1st.
April 1st. Sure, let's make it happen.
April Fool's Day.
Let's do it. A nice short version of the thing. That's not the right sting. I'm so rusty.
I think that's the one that gets us claimed.
There we go. No, stop it. Stop it. Stop doing that. There we go. Here we go. That's what we want.
There you go.
50% podcast.
Cheers to being back.
Yeah, man, it is good to see you. I missed you a lot.
Oh, you too.
I missed you, man. Dead air.
Bit of dead air as we
Both sip. Nah, it's great. It really is nice to be back.
Nice to be back. Nice to be reviewing Doctor Who.
Sorry again if I'm coming across as salty.
Salty.
Yeah.
Is this going to be a salty episode from Conor?
There might be a few salty apps. But
Oh no.
The pilot. Okay, what do you think of the name?
I think the name
Did you get it?
works in a lot of ways. I like it. Yeah.
Cool.
I think it's a good name. I think obviously it's about the plot. It's but it's also what I think is a great thing about this episode is that it works really, really well. I think like maybe even more so than the 11th Hour, which is a better episode. But in terms of an introductory episode to Doctor Who, I feel like this episode is the best introductory episode since Rose.
So that was his idea with Stephen. He made it very clear that he wanted it to be like a jumping on point for Doctor Who. If you hadn't seen the show, like you could watch this episode and like...
Which is a weird time to do
fine.
it in his last
It
season.
is, it
but
is.
sure.
And it's season 10 of the New Who run, which is like, okay.
But there's something about
Yeah.
an established Doctor. Yeah, you know, we always see with the companions are our eyes into the show as always, and so there's something about an established Doctor meeting this new companion for the first time, and that just being the perfect jumping on point. I think it's perfect for that.
I really hope that that's what we get with. Well, I actually do think that's going to be a lot with what we have with Ruby and Shooty's Doctor. I think that's going to be a massive jumping on point, and it makes you think of stuff like this. And
Yeah. Do you like the name?
I actually do. I mean, like, obviously, like, normally it's like pilot if it's the pilot episode. This is called the pilot, so I think it like stands out differently like that.
Yeah.
But I think it's like a bit on the nose, and also it relates to the episode. And I think this is a lot of laughs. This is the last season with Stephen, which is huge.
Huge.
Last season with Pete, which is also huge, and last season for Murray.
Yes.
Which is also huge. This was
Who-
a big season of laughs.
On fire this episode, by the way. I'm sure we'll get into that. Bill's theme.
When
please
ain't
release
he?
it.
And Clara's theme shows up very
Yes.
briefly at the end, which I thought was used perfectly. I
Release
forgot
the Series
fucking
10
fat about
soundtrack.
that. I fatly forgot about that. Yeah, that's not out, is it? Season 10.
The pilot is the first episode of the 10th series of the British science fiction television series Doctor Who. It was written by Stephen Moffat, broadcast on the 15th of April 2017 on BBC One, receiving mostly positive reviews, with praise from the introduction of Pearl Mackie and how the episode served both as a soft reboot and as a series premiere. There's a mini-sode? What?
No.
A 3-minute sequence billed as an exclusive... the introductory scene of Bill. They when Pearl Mackie was announced as a companion.
Oh, yes.
They did that
Yeah,
little
they did
scene.
that.
I think that's what it's talking about here.
I recall it was like a big football game in the UK, and they like did it in the halftime break.
Yeah, something
It was
like
like a
that.
big reveal.
Yeah,
We went to the cinema to see this as well.
we did, which was a weird one.
Yeah, it
It's
was like they just put it on at the cinema.
50 minutes, so it's like
Yep.
a weird length. I think there was like 10 minutes of interviews afterwards or something like that.
There was like they showed like Confidential, and
Yeah.
it was with Ingrid Oliver, and we always said she looked hungover in it because she like seemed really like she didn't want to be there, which is fine. But yeah, no, there was like 10 minutes of like BTS. Yeah.
So, okay. Have you seen the actual Doctor Who pilot?
What, like Unlikely Child?
Well, that's the final episode. There was a pilot before that, and then they reshot it for An Earthly Child.
No, have you?
I think I have. I think I watched it.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm such a shit fan. Hey,
No,
how can I
you're not a
not have
shit fan
seen
for that.
How can I watch Trial of the Time Lords, all 14 parts, and not have seen
How dare
Unearthly
you?
Child?
How dare you not watch an official episode of Doctor Who?
Clearly got a few screws loose if I've done that.
It's
No, I didn't know that.
yeah, there was like a lot of things wrong with it, like a lot of production problems, and I think the characterization of the first Doctor, I think they changed a little bit. And there's also a few things. I think actually this is something that Josh mentioned in their latest YouTube video. I think that's where I heard this. They actually changed a few of the things of the Doctor's history. I think the Doctor kind of mentions that they're from thousands of years in the future or something. But they get rid of all those kind of things that start to tell a little bit about the Doctor's past. So the final episode doesn't have any of that, but the pilot has a few references that I think wouldn't quite make sense with what we know about the Doctor now.
Right.
So yeah,
Was that in Adventure in Space and Time they did a first pilot, or they just completely
yeah, and they
forgot about
reshoot it. Yeah, that's in there.
it?
Yeah.
I just rewatched that recently. That's weird.
I think in Adventure in Space and Time they also, I think when they shoot the pilot, they make the water. What was it like when the fire alarm goes off and the sprinklers come on?
That's when the
set?
sprinklers come off. Yeah.
Yeah, but in the actual when they actually shot An Unearthly Child, that didn't happen in that pilot. It happened, I think, much later in the season, just on a
Okay.
random episode that happened, and they just moved it over, which is fair enough.
Right. Okay.
Little bits of fun facts for you. The pilot, yeah. So we watched it in the cinema, which is always an experience.
Yeah, that was the last time before Women Who Fell to Earth, and
So it's the second last time we went to the cinema for Who.
yeah, true. No, because we went to go see the Dalek movies. Yeah, no, it's always nice to go to the theater to go watch. I remember it was on Easter Sunday, I think.
There was something, yeah.
Easter Monday or Easter Sunday. It was one of those.
But I've got to say, this is, I think, like the best look for Doctor Who.
Oh, it looks so different in a great way. The colors are beautiful.
It's
like,
beautiful, man.
They seem to be using like really wide lenses, like just seeing the Doctor's little office. Like,
Really well
it looks
directed.
so lovely. It
I love the
really,
way
really looks good.
It starts on that lovely, like, wide. and
It's a
like,
massive
symmetrical.
wide. It's
Bill
a
comes
massive
in.
wide. I love it.
That mixed with the sound
So
design,
good.
I think is like an awesome start. And then like, I think Nardole comes in, says his thing, and then it cuts back to the wide, and then the wide like pushes in as Murray's score picks up again.
All the sonics. We're going to see Susan. We're going to see
So much cool
River
stuff.
in the frames, and you hear
The one
Oh, yeah.
thing at the start of the episode that I just didn't like was when Bill did the little cough, like the I'm here cough.
Hello.
That whole bit just seemed kind of forced to me.
I thought you were going to say when the fucking screw that's like this big comes out of Nardole.
I love Nardole in this episode. I'm going to
Me
put that out
too.
there.
Okay, honestly, like he is like leaps and bounds better than he was in Mysterio.
Oh, that one too.
Sorry,
yeah.
my brain is not working. Yeah, Mysterio.
Which is weird because this would have
Love
been
him so much
shot
better.
like with Mysterio. I'm guessing, like maybe not in the right order, but it would have been the same series.
I thought about that because I was like, I remember a really good point that you've made when we first watched the episode in the cinema. You're like, you can really tell that the Doctor and Nardole have been together for like decades.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
Oh, good on me.
That's one. Yeah, you're like, I do agree with myself.
Yes.
I love that I said that. No, but I think that's really true. And I think like they've almost both matured in a sense. And I think that like they dialed. Nardi is actually like, he's not dialed back like massively, but when he is being Nardi, it is silly. But I think it actually worked for the episode.
He's funny. Like
It's
I genuinely
really,
think
yeah,
all
I
of his lines
really
are
liked
funny.
him in it. I'm glad he's in it. I think he's actually a really good part of season 10.
He is. It's a very good part of it. So we also had the introduction of Pearl Mackie.
Of course, yeah.
What do you think of her at the time? Let's just take a back step. What did you think of the episode in 2017 when this came out?
We were in a very interesting spot where I've said this multiple times. Hellbent sucked. I didn't like Husband's a Real Song, and I didn't like Mysterio at all. We were very... Even us as like massive fans had hit like a very judgy stage with the show. Like we'd seen all the emoji bots being filmed, and we were not happy. And you know, with peace and love to Matt Lucas now, we were very worried about what Nardi would be like. But I don't know. I completely disagree right now. I think Nardi's great, and I think Matt's great as well. We love white bands, don't we?
No, I was just brightening the camera again.
I remember going to the cinema, like being quite excited and keen for the new season. But what really upset me is we went with someone who I won't name. You know who we went with.
Is this the fourth member of our usual party?
Yeah. So it was you, me, Dan, and someone else. Mm-hmm. And I could just tell I was almost surprised they even came, because like they only just recently caught up on like season 9, and like they hadn't really given a shit about the show for a while. And there are some like scenes in this episode with like some really shoddy CGI, and I recall them just like completely taking the piss out of it. When I feel like if we take the piss out of the show, it's because we love it, and we care about the show. I feel like they were just like making fun of it for like no good reason, and were like just ripping it a new one because they thought it sucked, and that really upset me, and that really like rubbed me the wrong way. So I recall leaving the theater feeling really flat, because I had quite enjoyed it, but I felt like someone was making fun of it for, I don't think, good reasons.
For the sake of making fun of it.
For the sake of making fun of it, not just being like, you know, end of the day, like, there are just human beings making a product. And I'm not saying we don't, you know, critique on the show. Of course we do. But I think it does come from a place of, like, love rather than just hate.
Yeah.
And that did suck. So, but no, me personally watching it, I think that it was actually quite a good time. But I enjoyed it the most today than I had ever. I really fucked with it.
I think at the time I sort of watched it and was like, yeah, that was fun. I think I remember being like, yeah, that was a really good jumping on point.
Yeah.
But then this time I really enjoyed watching it. It's not a fantastic plot, but I don't think there's anything particularly that doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like everything works, like everything passes. I think. Like, sure, some of the CGI and that kind of thing, but like the plot is so basic, but it works because you get to focus on the other things. And we're about to talk about Pearl Mackie, who is, I think, a fantastic inclusion.
I love her, man. I think she gets forgotten about a lot when we're talking about favorite companions, and which is odd because like I get like she kind of is at the tail end of like a really big change in the show. Like we were about to go to Jodie with Chibnall, and like I kind of think that's kind of why people forget about her, and it is Pete's last season as well. I think she's great. Honestly, I really do. She's like such a fresh addition to the show, very different to the dynamic with Clara. And I think the whole professor and like, not even student, she becomes a student.
Yeah.
Because the doctor like almost like, Alexa to do it. Like, you know, I want you to be, I want to be your tutor. And like, you know, you got to get anything less than a first and it's over.
Yeah.
And I think it's such a cool and unique... There's so much to love about it. I think the whole thing about the doctor being the professor at like a university is so perfect. And I think their dynamic is so unique and beautiful, and there's a lot to love about it. I feel like I just want to keep saying things a lot about it because like you're right, the score, the way it looks, the lighting, like there's such a warm and fuzzy feeling to it. You just feel happy watching it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I just was like having a good time watching it. The first 10 to 15 minutes, there's no like plot in terms of the villain or anything like that. It's just getting Bill and the Doctor together, bonding. They don't bond over a mutual adventure. Obviously, that's how she ends up joining the TARDIS. Yeah. But they bond over just becoming friends, which is such a difference compared to other companions in the past.
Yeah.
We get a sense that they have been friends for a while now. By the time she does join the TARDIS, like.
well, time passed by. You see like Christmas, and you see
Which is
like
awesome.
which is so lovely.
Even though we just had 2 Christmas specials back to back,
Yeah,
it was like more Christmas.
It's almost nice to see Christmas like pop up in an episode when it's not Christmas anymore.
is.
You're like, oh, okay, cool. Like time's passed, and that scene was beautiful with the pictures. Sorry, I'm jumping in, but go on.
No. That's sort of thing that I'm saying. Like,
Dude, the pictures was so beautiful.
all that
I
kind
think
of
it's
thing's
great.
nice. Yeah,
And it's funny. Like I love
Really
how
funny.
I love how she's like, my mum said you could smell the wind in people's clothes, and the doctor's like, seems like a lovely person. He's like, yeah, she died when I was a baby, and he's like, if she died when you were a baby, when did she say that?
Yeah.
Like I think like it's dark humor.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think Pete, okay,
This is him at his best.
Pete, he's so comfortable in the role now.
Mm-hmm.
He's in his final season. He's my doctor. I'm sorry, I love all the docs, but he's my doctor.
He's the
like
best.
he is just so, you could tell he's so comfortable in the role now.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what he's doing. There were so many times where like I couldn't help but have like a fucking dumbass smile
Mm-hmm.
with him just delivering these lines.
That's what-
I just love him.
This
He's so
episode
great.
is just a dumbass smile.
Yeah,
Like, it is.
yeah.
It's like, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
it all works on a surface level. It's
Yeah.
all a lot of fun. Sounds good. It looks good. The performances are amazing. Considering it's not like a huge emotional episode of Doctor Who, I just think the performances are great for just a standard episode of Who. We go to Australia.
Yes, they go to
this episode.
Sydney, of course. Yeah.
I saw
I love
someone
that.
posted on Twitter, and obviously this is like an obvious mistake. A lot of people that don't know so much about filmmaking and stuff would just assume that they went and shot in Australia. I saw.
Do people think that?
Yes. So
Crumbs.
there was a post. Someone has made a map of every Doctor Who filming location they can find, and they're constantly adding to it. And I like commented like a screenshot. I was like, nothing in Australia, sad face. And then people were like,
in Sydney.
they filmed in Sydney for the pilot. And then everyone was like, no, they didn't. They.
Oh god.
It was just a green screen. But I think it does look good. That's the thing. I actually think
It kind of does look like an Aussie pub. Like
yeah.
it actually.
It looks like our
does.
local pub.
It looks like our local, and like
it
even
does.
the
The shade of the wood is different, but it is like the same vibe.
it actually is, and it was kind of weird in a good way. I was like, hey, good job, like you guys. I think that scene where like they're jumping in the TARDIS and like going to different places, going to Australia, go to that like other planet like 23 million years in the future. The Daleks pop up very briefly.
For the last time in the Moffat era, other than Rusty.
Wow, good point.
A lot of lasts.
There really is a lot to love about it, and like there's such like I think the Doctor, Bill, and Nardo are such like they're the odd couple.
They are, yeah.
But-
the trio.
I'll be damned if I said it didn't work.
Yeah.
Like it actually just does. Like it is such a unique crew, which I was very against back in the day for some reason. I was like, this isn't going to work. This is silly. This is dumb. But now watching it, I'm like, wow. Like, yeah. The Aussie scene is fun though. Yeah, one day, hopefully they will actually shoot
Yeah.
in Australia.
We'd love that. That would be
That'd be dope.
amazing.
We've got so many deserts. Like, dude, you go like an hour away from where we are. Like, it looks like you're on like Mars. Like, come on, they can do
Conor,
it.
That's why one of my film lecturers, when I was at film school, which you like to give me shit for, one of my
With
lecturers
peace and love, bro.
once said, I'm just baffled that all the filming is over east. Like because Perth is a quiet town, not a lot of filming stuff here, which makes my life suck. But over east is where Elvis filmed there, all sorts of movies.
It did, didn't it? Yeah.
Like Thor shot there, like all the big
Yeah.
movies film over east, which is like a 5-hour flight away from Perth. But the thing is, over east has far more unpredictable weather than Perth does. Albeit this summer has been a weird summer.
People watching this show won't believe that with all the fucking rain we've had.
Yeah, they were. This has been a weird summer, but usually
Yeah,
Perth
that was a weird.
has
yeah.
very consistent weather. And the locations that you go from are fantastic. Like you drive an hour, 2 hours north, you're in desert. You drive a
Beautiful, massive sand dunes. Like,
yeah, and if you
the
go
sand is like you would never see sand like it. It's
even
so
further,
beautiful.
it goes like orange, and
There
you're on
goes
Mars.
orange. Yeah.
You go an hour south, you're in huge forests, like massive forests, and you keep going, and it gets more foresty, it gets more wet and rainy.
So true. Yeah.
It's literally like within like the 2 hour span the 4-hour span of going like 2 hours north to 2 hours south from Perth, you have so many different environments. And so it's like, why is Perth not the film hub of WA? It's very far away from everything is the main reason. But
you'll never see, like, you go to like 9 hours drive from where we are to a little place called Monkey Mire. You'll never see clearer oceans in your life.
no, it's amazing.
It's like, it's actually like pretty breathtaking. It really is. Like, it's like, I said this to Dan yesterday, like we were just having beers and like on the rocks, and like we are so blind to how lucky. Like, I'm like having beers and like there's just like there's the sea and there's the pub and there's like boats and there's houses and a beautiful sky. And you're so blind to it. Like, you don't realize how amazing that is.
You definitely do get so blind to it. Like, I think it's obvious, like, you know, I still live with my parents, and I'm very lucky that they're in a good place financially. And so we've got this place which looks over, you know, upstairs having dinner, you can see the entire horizon from left to right.
My parents, yeah.
And it's like, you forget how lucky you are.
No, you get blind to it. It's sad.
One, lucky in that family, but also lucky in terms of like just where we are right now. And
it normally takes, like, I learned from like family coming over from England when like
that's always eye-opening.
You take them to like our pub, and they're like, our pub is like pretty mind-blowing. Like, if you actually explain it, like I've talked to like Vinny and Dylan about it, and I'm like, I actually explained, like,
it's on basically a harbour kind of thing. Right?
Yeah, and it's like, and you go there and you're like, it's like, it's paradise. But, you know, like, obviously, like, doesn't solve all your issues. I think, you know, obviously, like, sometimes you can think you're in paradise, and like, you know, places like here, like, have like really bad, like, suicide rates, and also doesn't like solve everything. But I think, like, you know, to have this opportunity to be in such a beautiful place, like, you do have to sometimes remind yourself. I don't know, but I agree though. I think more stuff should be shot in Perth, 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, are we supposed to be getting that film studio?
Yeah, which has finally been commissioned, because it was going to be built in Fremantle, and now it's being built in not Malaga, the other M1, or is it Malaga? I don't think it's Malaga. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Is it Midland?
Midlands?
It's not Midland. No, Midland's too rough. That's rough.
Midland's pretty rough.
You get shot if you walk down Midland.
I remember I went to Midland once to get some AirPods because they sold out everywhere. That was weird.
That's a trek to go for AirPods. I go there maybe
this is when you couldn't really buy them.
I go there once or twice a month for work, and it's always rough.
It is.
Yeah, so...
Midland brick. What was that?
I just get the reference. There's an undercover reference there.
That's a little Aussie company. WA born and bred.
Mm-hmm.
Google it. Go on.
But yeah, hopefully, maybe one day the Doctor will rock up in Perth. How about that? Can you imagine, like...
They'll never do Perth, though, because it's not
Shooty
noticeable.
rocks up, and Shooty goes, "It's the bell tower!"
Ruby, haha! It's the bell tower!
Remember when the bell tower was, like, the only tourist attraction in Perth?
We have, like, Rottnest, like...
Yeah, now they're really pushing Rottnest.
Rottnest is, like...
That's where all the celebrities
everyone
go.
talks about the Quackers. I think the Quackers is, like, one of the only things we got going for us.
But I think that's, like... Obviously, that was a thing for a long, long time. But I think in the last, like, 5 years, that's what Perth has become known for now, is Rottnest. Before that, it was like, what is there in Perth?
Do you know the famous tennis player Roger Federer?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he...
My mate.
Well, yeah, he can be, because he loves Perth. He's retiring in Perth. Yeah.
Really?
He absolutely loves it.
Good.
And he is like a world-renowned like tennis player, like traveled all around the world. And he said the one place I want to end up is Perth.
Here's the thing.
Come on, guys.
Here's the thing with Perth, right? And I said this when we were in high school. I said Perth is the perfect place to be raised as a teenager. It's the perfect place to grow old. But that period in life when you want to be busy, I'm not sure that Perth is the best place for that, because it is such a relaxing environment.
But I'd argue we should be the generation to change that.
Yeah.
I think we should be like, I think we should be the generation to like, it's kind of why I mention it all the time on the show. I always say like sunny Perth. Like I want people to know that's where we're from. Unfortunately, Perth is also in Scotland, and I know we got a lot of British viewers. Yeah, I've never been.
I've been there, and I remember
you did a show there, didn't you?
I did. I performed in a show in Perth.
That would have been pretty
Scotland.
wild, hey? We come from Perth to do a show in Perth.
You know, it's funny
And it's
now.
spelt the exact same way.
All of our new listeners have now experienced Dan on the podcast.
Yes.
Um,
That was the same show, yeah.
yeah, so me and Dan co-starred in a show together that toured the UK.
Yeah.
And yeah, we did a show in Perth, and that was a show where Dan left his. So me and Dan were the leads in it, and we both had like Aussie
Yeah.
hats on. And Dan left his hat at the hotel.
Yeah.
And I remember I got so butthurt because like our director was like, "Oh, it makes more sense. Like you obviously should both fucking have these hats, but it makes more sense for
Oh,
Dan to have a hat.
no.
So Dan should take your hat, Aidan."
It's like,
and I was
no.
like, "No, Dan, it's my fucking hat. You didn't bring your fucking hat. It's your fault." Anyways, that particular show was a mess in the most hilarious way, to the point where like we were making shit up on stage just because it was so funny.
Yeah.
It was
That's how I
wild.
felt editing the Crispy Pro episode where everything kind of went wrong. You can't have to like laugh at it in the end, like with the madness. I think if you don't
Yeah.
laugh at the madness, you go like crazy.
Well, we had like a lot of stuff go wrong for that show that the audience probably wouldn't know. But the big thing was that particular show, just none of the jokes were landing. You know how stand up sometimes you don't get
different
a good
places,
crowd,
different.
you know?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And none of the jokes were landing for that one. And you know Fergus, my mate Fergus.
What to Kanja Club?
That's a different part. But Fergus,
Oh, okay.
Fergus
I remember that.
has a line where he goes, he like has to kick a footy, and he goes, he shoots, he scores, and what he does is he goes, he shoots, he scores, just like every line in this play. No. It's he shoots, he misses, just like every line in this play is what he said, and it was the funniest shit ever. I just remember everyone else was meant to be frozen on stage at the time, and you could just feel everyone just like stifling laughter. Like. It was good. I butchered that joke there, but hey.
Do you ever? I haven't you butchered it at all.
Okay.
Come on, brother.
No, go on, what were we going to say? What were we gonna say?
I'm giving you a compliment. You're gonna be like, thanks, bro.
Oh, thanks, bro.
Thanks,
Put it here,
man.
pal.
Come on. Ow.
Oh, you're sunburned, aren't you? Sorry.
No, it's more that I wasn't sunburnt on my. I wasn't not wearing a shirt all day.
It's more like I smacked
Yeah,
you
you
on
just
the back.
smacked the shit out of me. No, would you ever do like acting again? And
I
I
thought
don't
about
mean
it recently,
I don't mean being a fucking bartender in your own film. You fucking
My cameos in my own movies.
yeah.
Which,
well, you were.
can I flex for a
Of
second?
course, no. Go ahead. Hey, I was gonna say, are you gonna give the invite out?
Well, that's the reason I didn't
Go
want
on,
to flex
do
for
it.
the sake of flexing.
It's okay.
but
Don't worry about my point.
We'll come to your point.
okay,
There's
okay
been-
I wasn't saying it first.
No, but there's been
Go
a
on.
couple of.
Go on.
We
Go
know
on.
there's a couple of people in Perth that listen to the podcast.
Is there?
Yeah, they've rocked up on Twitter. There was like someone that was at the Invasion of Earth movies, and they were like, "Oh, I didn't say
Didn't
hi."
say hi to
I know.
us.
No. But anyways, if you ever fancy seeing one of the films that I have made,
Yeah.
my latest film, Let Me Be, has just got into the official selection for the WA Made Film Festival. So that's screening on
I'll be there.
February, I want to say the 18th. It's the Saturday of that period of time in February.
How are people gonna come? We don't know the fucking date. You
Anyways,
donkey.
you can buy tickets on the WA Made Festival website. It's on a Saturday morning at 10:30.
Oh, I have to pay to go.
We're basically the warm-up act for a feature film that has been very well received, and we're very lucky to be in that slot because there'll be a lot of people there that are there for that feature, and it's like, you know, I saw a band that was a warm-up act for the Wombats, and that band has like taken off, and they were taking off right as the Wombats brought them on to tour with them. But now they've like blown the fuck up, and so I'm like, hopefully I can meet some people there as a
The Wombles.
Conor. What were you gonna say before I just went big flex in the
Well,
muscles?
two things. Number one, so you were a news reporter in that film.
I was. That's a student film we don't talk about.
You're on the news.
I was a news reporter on that film because I like to give exposition.
Yeah. So, are you ever gonna like go back into acting again, or?
I actually have thought about it recently, just as like a challenge, and I love like entertaining. I think,
That's why we're here, folks.
yeah, I don't know. So I have thought about it, but I'm also like, I don't know. Whenever we've shot things and like we've had to use stand-ins and stuff, and I'm doing lines, and sometimes I'll be like, I'm just gonna actually try for this little
Yeah,
little
it's harder than
rehearsal.
you think.
And I'll try, and then like like my cameraman Dan will like come up to me and is like, God, be glad you're not an actor, mate. And I'll be like,
fuck.
I actually was trying there.
No, I got a Xavier sent me because Xavier's film's going to be shown at the same place.
Yes, so
isn't it?
Zave, who you also would have heard on
Yeah.
this podcast from time to time, also has a film in the festival.
Xavier messaged me and sent me the thing, and I double tapped the thing that he sent me, and he was like the post, and I was like, don't tell me what to do. I'm in my Time Lord victorious phase, okay?
Feisty.
I was like, don't tell me what to do. I was about to do it, but now I'm not going to do it. And I didn't. And he's like, I have directed duties. And I was like, yeah. And I also have feelings, and I ain't doing it. So there you go. I'm taking no prisoners anymore.
No, Conor is in a fight. He's a bad start to the year, and now he's
That's
in his
okay.
Time Lord victorious stage.
I'm in my Time Lord victorious phase. You know, I'm not taking it anymore. Okay, but no, I will be there. I'll be rocking the old the old button up.
Cool.
I'll go for sure.
Be nice to have you there, because I know you've said for a long time, like, why didn't you invite me to
I have a bone to pick with you about that.
Why?
I don't recall ever saying that.
You do!
That really pissed me off when you said, I'm just sending this to you guys because Conor always says
Alright.
you never invite me. No, I said you didn't. I said I'll do like, like a why are you I said I'll do like a cameo in the film. I never said you don't invite me to the press script. You did like the crew.
Yeah, but like previous films,
I never said why didn't you invite me to
Previous
that.
films-
It makes sense why I wasn't invited to
previous
that.
films we've had public screenings for.
What, the last one?
Choices we did.
Yeah, that, okay, yeah. Was I invited to that?
Well, here's the thing. Like, all my friends
Okay.
as well, they're always like, why don't you invite us to our films and stuff? And I'm like, I literally put it on my Instagram stories. Like, I'm not going to DM and beg for people to come and stuff, but I'll always just post it on my Instagram stories and
No,
stuff
that's
like that
fair.
when there's screenings.
No, I get that. I get that. Yeah, I get that.
So I'm sick of people saying that shit. So that's why, like, this time I've been like, fuck it. You're all getting DMs of my
I don't
movie.
recall. I'm just saying I don't recall.
Maybe you didn't, but a lot
saying
of people,
that,
all my mates,
because I was
have
like,
in the past.
okay, no, I'd love to support you. Like, just because I'm going for my Time of Victorious phase doesn't mean I don't have a heart. Like, I'm happy. I'm more than happy to come.
You're like, I hope your film bombs, Aidan.
I would never say that. I hope it goes great. Like, sometimes a bomb can be good. What that new Christopher Nolan film's about a bomb?
Is it? Oh, literally about a bomb. Right, yeah, it is.
There you go.
Oppenheimer.
I know yours isn't about a bomb, but so it doesn't bomb. But it can't
film's
bomb.
about
How can it
musos.
bomb?
No, well,
Are there jokes in it?
there's like one or two which
There
no
you
one's
go.
going to laugh at. They're not like funny. Like, they're just like there to be a bit
Do you want me
better.
to like? Do you know how sometimes you're in a theater and like you don't want to laugh because you're the only person who laughs? Do you want me to like?
I want you to go,
I'll just joke it like.
yeah.
I just pretend I don't know. You're like, that's the fucking best joke I've ever heard in my
That's it.
life.
No, there's like
I'll
a bit
laugh.
of like a little banter for like 2 lines at one point, just to lift.
You're
the mood a
shit.
bit.
No, you're shit.
It's
Is
literally
that
that kind of thing. Right?
I was like, that's good. I hate being in a theater and like wanting to laugh hard, but it's like a quiet ass theater.
Oh, I just do now. I was watching The Fabelmans on my own on Tuesday at the cinema, and there was like 5 or 6 old people in there with me, and like I was. There's a few bits where I laughed. The last shot is so good, like, and it's like I've never known a camera angle to be funny. Like, the last shot, they generally do like a funny joke with the camera angle.
Okay.
And I just remember, I just laughed. I was like, and everyone around.
I don't
me
know
was
why.
like,
I hate. Well, I did. There's always that one guy who like laughs, and then it's like, okay, we're allowed to laugh.
Yeah.
Do you ever have that in
Yeah.
a theater where it's like you're trying to be quiet, but then like once someone lets out like a belly laugh, you feel like, okay, now I can laugh.
I think that's the same with like a lot of things, like social conversations, where you're like, for example, when I was in New Zealand, Nick and I, we went to some like big Maori night thing, so you could see a bit of culture. They did a show, and it started with like just a dinner, and it was like a big Maori feast and stuff. And it was just obviously Nick and I had booked, but they'd put groups of people onto tables. So there's like a bunch of random people onto our tables, which I didn't know. And like we rocked up, and there was like a whole bunch of people on the table. And I was like, oh, this is a bit spooky. And I like sat down, and for like 10 minutes we were sat there and just like no one was talking.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck this. Hey, how you doing? And
Yeah.
then like instantly like everyone started talking. It's kind of like that sort of thing. I feel like that's related.
No, I had that at a wedding once. So I got put down at like a table, and thank God a one woman did that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To like, I think to me, and then like that's when everyone started like talking. But it's funny, like you are kind of sat there just like. When someone's like, so how do you know so and so? I'm like, oh, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm here with someone else, and they know them, and I'm like, yeah. And then, oh god, it was so funny. Like, I love situations like that. I've been trying to throw myself into situations that I feel I'm comfortable in.
That's good.
I went to a quiz on Tuesday,
Right.
and I almost got hit by an old woman. There's this, for some reason, you're not allowed to use your phones through quizzes, obviously, but for some reason, the first thing they gave out like a sheet with like 17, 18 different albums on it. It was like a British music quiz. Mm-hmm. It's like 18 different British albums. Didn't have the titles on it, didn't have like the name of the artist. You had to like write down the name of the artist and name of the album, but you could use your phone. But like, it's kind of cheap, but it's kind of not, because if you don't know the album cover, you have to like Google like British album covers, or like, oh, I think this person's Amy Whitehouse's record. Like, let me Google all her albums. Like,
You're not meant to Google in quizzes.
No, but that's the thing. You're not. But for some reason, I didn't make the rules.
Right.
Which is why I told this old
told
woman
you to do that.
That's the thing. Like, the only time was like the starter thing. It was almost like a starter thing, and then we got our official sheet of paper, and then we didn't use our phones.
Yeah.
But for the starter one, they said use your phones. Some people didn't know that, I guess. So I was a bit drunk. I was like, we won this like bottle of wine, and like no one was going up, and I was like, oh god. But I was being a bit of a, I was like, stopping at tables on the way and be like, I don't know if you saw, but we just won the, the wine. I saw like 3 tables, and on the way back, I did it again, and one woman was like, cheaters. You're on your phone the whole time. And I was like, well, you're allowed to go on your phone. They literally said it. And she's like, no, they didn't. And I was like, yeah, I'm not yelling at an old woman at a pub when I'd had a few too many beers. I was
at
like,
that time Lord Victoria stage, that's when you'll go, you'll yell at an old woman in the pub, and you'll turn around and they'll be standing across at the pub, and you'll go, have I gone too far?
She's like, 4 knocks. I'm like, don't you start, all right? Don't you start. I literally I got so annoyed where I was like, I can't hear you. What are you saying? I can't hear you, because the music was pretty loud. I was like, what you saying? And I came back and I was like, yeah, like with this bottle of wine. I didn't even take it home. I gave it to the person who booked the table, but I was like, yeah. Anyway, we won one part of the quiz, but.
So they went to Australia in the pilot. Mm-hmm. So that's just where that tangent started from.
No way.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because we started talking about Australia and why
You're
they should shoot more things in Australia, which I think slowly moved on to my film.
That is why this is the 50%. So what do you think about the Daleks being in it? Because that's quite an okay thing, I guess.
I think I prefer the Daleks when they're used in this way than when they get like episodes where they are just like an army. Okay. This is like a double-edged sword where I'm like, I like them when they're just there because it's world building and it's like all the Daleks are fucking here, right? Because we get so many Dalek stories that are just like, oh, it's another Dalek story.
One ship survived.
And it's like, I kind of prefer them like in Survivors in the Fox when they're just like going past as an army. But then, double-edged sword is sometimes I don't want them to just be like that disposable army race. So, I don't know. I liked them in this episode, is the bottom line.
But they're fighting the their old arch nemesis.
Was about to bring this up.
So who are they again?
The Mavellans, which are in, I think, Destiny of the Daleks. Yeah, 1979
That's
serial.
really cool, yeah.
I think that's a good, fun serial. I think I don't know if it's underrated. I don't think people talk about it that much.
Okay.
I quite like it. It's the serial before City of Death, which you watch. So it's the Fourth
cool.
Doctor and Romana.
Cool.
Maybe we'll do that sometime soon.
Yeah, I'd love to, yeah.
I think it's a good, enjoyable story.
Yeah, cool. I remember when we were watching the season 10 trailer, you like messaged me like there was like a shot of like one of them with like they had like the dreadlocks, don't they? Almost like the
silver dreadlocks.
Like the silver dreadlocks. You're like, it looks like this kind of someone saying it's like a classic tie-in. I was like, that's cool. Yeah, no, I think it's fine. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I think it's fine. I think it's fun. I think
the Daleks are in it?
The Daleks are in it. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's so exciting when they're in the TARDIS and the Doctor's like throwing Nardole. Is it the 3rd or 4th Doctor Sonic?
Yeah,
I think it's the 4th.
I think it's the 4th. Yeah.
Yeah, which makes sense with the time with the classic. yeah, I love that. And Nala grabs the Sonic and it's like, I don't want to go there. Like, it's like, this isn't a war, this is your basic skirmish. Like, I think that's like, it's exciting. There's like handheld movements. The TARDIS is going. Pete's killing it.
How good's that shot? Just talking of shooting the TARDIS. How good's that shot?
Oh
when,
my god.
You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, do I ever.
You know,
and my favourite TARDIS as well. Do that pan.
Pulls back. Boom, 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 boom. All the lights are on. And then they're using
can't
like
not smile.
a Series 5 bitted score in that part.
Do
And
they
I was
really?
like- yeah. It was like a...
When Amy first comes in?
It was like an Amy score kind of vibe.
Right, okay.
I can't remember what specifically it was, but it's Series 5 or 6, definitely.
You got a good ear for that kind of stuff. Better than me. No, and Bill was Arsenal. He's like, I appreciate Moffat. He's like, this is getting stale. This is getting boring. Like, all these characters coming in. Like, there's even that joke where it's like, she finally says it's bigger on the inside, and Nardot's like, we got there. Like, you know,
and they
oh, we got there. And he's like, you know, I think that's really fun. Like, he
Very
actually got a different side of it. And we had in Husbands the Doctor going in for the first time attending. Like, he'd never seen the inside being bigger, and I think respect to Moff that he did like a whole new thing. I like it. I like it a lot.
Bill asking all the questions people don't ask, except you can tell that he was like, right, this is how we're going to set that up. She's going to go, Dr. What? And like, she says that.
What, with
and
the
it's title
titles? Yeah,
sequence,
not a
and,
fan.
And I'm like, ugh, that was cringe.
Yeah, that is kind of cringe. Yeah, I don't like, and like the titles are always, sometimes title sequences are like so abrupt.
It's the Pete one is so abrupt.
It's very quickly into it, and like it's almost like an iMovie fade.
Yeah, it's a crossfade. Yeah.
Into the title sequence. I'm not okay. I'll say the one thing I don't really like about the episode. I think the villain is pretty shite. I'm not a fan of it.
I was about to ask you about Heather and
I think the whole Heather storyline, I think the Heather thing is really cute. I love the representation. I love the representation. Absolutely. Fantastic. I sound like Ninth Doctor then. Fantastic. But I think the villain is just like shite.
Yeah,
I think it goes nowhere. I'm not trying to make a big deal out of this. It's a cheap BBC show, but sometimes the CGI is like really bad.
What I was thinking is like
really bad.
We don't need the CGI.
No,
part.
I know.
I kept thinking like it's like so. It was spooky. It would like show the water coming in, like whether it's coming down the steps,
just
or
like the
something
flood.
Like that. I was thinking that too. And I was like, this is spooky. This is good. And then all of a sudden, CGI Heather would rock up. What I would much prefer is like they see the water coming in, and then it's like they look up, and it's like a jump scare of Heather like standing there. You don't need to see her actually form from the water.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the water coming under the thing, we love water, so we love that.
Yeah, we've said many times.
But I think there was like a shot before with like Heather like standing under a tree, and it was very similar to the flood, which is there was a rumor going around that the flood was coming back because they'd seen like they were shooting out the university, and there was like people on set saying like people like fans on the side saying like water's coming out. And that looked good, like, and it was creepy. Like,
hold on.
What?
How much, like, this episode was good fun. Like, don't get me wrong. But how much better, like, a top tier episode would this be if it was like that water puddle has come from Mars,
and it was the flood,
and it's the flood, and then it's like, holy fuck, we need to contain this now. Like, how intense would that be? The Doctor knowing how much that stuffed him up in the past, leading him all the way into Time Lord Victorious.
Me right now.
And to Conor
I know what it
relate.
feels like.
Yeah.
I'm there right now. Yeah.
But like, because it is the same threat where it's like, all the water's coming and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's quite similar.
And it would be so good if it was just like, just wander up, doing that kind of thing again.
I have this thought a lot that I wonder if I think the best thing about Wars Mars is they never will touch it again.
Yeah, which is definitely good.
Which is what makes it so good. I feel like whenever they do, if they ever do a sequel, it'll never be as good. But part of me is like, I'd almost love to read like a book or something. Like it's not canon.
I'll get
like
writing.
What Russell, well, from Russell, if you don't mind.
Fuck.
Sorry, Aidan. Maybe bring back Phil if he's not doing anything. Phil Ford, you know.
Yeah.
I would love to see like what he would do. Almost like I'd love to read a script or something that never happened, but like, you know, what would they actually do if the flood came back?
Yeah.
But again, I think like we've been using the phrase double-edged sword a lot in this thing, but like, it's a double-edged sword. Like, I'd love to see what else they would do, but I'm also like, what makes the episode so good is that it's so dark and it's just like it's contained. It's like its own episode. But yeah, no, I think that the whole Heather thing like is. I think Heather's storyline is like really cute and it's really sweet, and it comes back in Twice Upon a Time.
And she's a cute little character. I feel like
Exactly.
she's very sweet. Like,
and the representation again, I think is dope. Like I really think it's great, and I don't think that gets enough credit. And I think it's great Steven even did that. I think that's awesome. And like Bill is like, it's funny, like she is openly gay, but there's like obviously there's like little hints to it. Like she's like her stepmom's like, do I have to like bash this man's like head in? It's like it's not men that I look on my eye on, you know. Like I think there's little hints, and like you obviously see it with Heather and stuff. But I think like, you know, it gets a little bit more. You get. It's not like as much as it's obvious as also she doesn't actually just come out and say, you know, I'm gay the doctor. I think they do that a little bit more into the future episodes, but I think it's a really good start, and the ending is lovely as well.
it's lovely. I thought
That was a dumb rant. I feel like that's okay.
No, that's cool. I thought what was a surprisingly spooky scene was when until the end of the scene was when Bill comes back into her apartment, the shower's on, and she calls her mum, she's like, there's no one there. And then she's exploring it.
She's
and
out with
like,
Clive again or something.
there's footprints on the floor. Yeah, that was a funny joke. There's footprints on the floor and stuff, and that stuff's all like kind of spooky. And then they kind of ruin it with like the crash zoom in on the CGI eye and the Jane. But everything leading up to that, I was like, there's some spooky shit.
There's some good like direction, yeah, and I agree, it is spooky.
Well directed episode, I think.
It's funny, like the Dalek gets Heather's like star eye, but it just reminded me of the Skittle Daleks because they had similar eyes.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
and I was like, this is not really anything I've not seen before. Nardle's dope though. Like when he like when Nardle's like, you okay to Bill, and she's like, and the doctor's like, she's fine. And it's like, that's the thing about the doctor, never sees the tears, and he like flips the Sonic and like grabs it. I'm like, you're cool, man.
kind of cool.
You're
What about
like,
when he
this
has
is
a
great.
shit?
Okay,
When he has a
I
shit?
could leave. That's the oldest joke in the book.
You know what?
Leave that for a second. Like, it's the oldest joke in the book.
You know what is a funny joke though?
What?
Because there's a few lines when Bill first walks into the TARDIS and she's asking the questions that are different to other companions, and it's like kind of obvious what they're trying to do. One joke that just caught me off guard when she's like, I know what this is. It's a lift.
Yes.
I lost it. Like,
Yeah.
that's actually funny.
But
like,
it's a good point, though. It's like, you know, because they go to the basement. You would say it's a lift, and it's like, yeah, there's some really cool, funny, like the kitchen thing, 'cause it's all shiny. Like, where's the toilets? Like, you know what, Aidan? There's a lot to love about it,
it's a lot of fun.
and the ending's really cool with the mind warp thing. And it's like, what would you do if someone did this to you? You hear Clara's theme.
ooh.
You're like, yo.
And it's like Pete's
That's
like,
up.
oh, someone did do this to me. Yeah, that's so good. And then it's also
He almost remembers about remembering.
yeah.
He almost has like a change of mind because something ticked in his brain, but he doesn't know why.
And how beautiful, just visually, is that final scene where he opens up the TARDIS door to let in good old Bill.
This is a gateway to everything there ever was or ever can be.
Wow.
So many great lines in it. It
Pete
really
gets the
did
best
a great.
like one-liners, doesn't he?
Oh, and I love his new like blue coat and the hoodie, and he chucks on. I love how he has a wardrobe change when he runs in the TARDIS. He's like, I want to be theatrical. I want to chuck on my red velvet for this scene. I'm like, my favorite costume, which I've touched in real life.
Weirdly, yes.
Yeah, I had to stroke it.
Winky face.
I had to stroke the red velvet. How can I not? It's my favorite suit.
Oh, you were stroking the jacket.
What did you think I was saying? Are you joking? You did the time thing again.
That's a little
Is this
sexual.
your new thing?
Blah.
Is this your new thing?
It actually is.
Is it?
Yeah. Just before I left, I started doing it with my mate Andy.
Yeah, okay.
I kept going like, blah.
Oh,
I said to him, I was
it's
like,
caught on.
I said it's the best way to save a joke that like flops. Like I'll say
You're
a
like,
joke
it's a
and
shit,
no one
you're
will
like,
laugh, and then I'll go bah, and everyone will laugh, and it's so fucking funny. Anyways, I started doing it on the trip. Now I just go bah.
Yeah, it just caught on.
Yeah, I was doing it for a while because in tennis I do it when I like.
Oh, I saw you playing tennis.
I was playing tennis for quite a bit before I left.
Yeah, cool.
And
Groovy.
like whenever I like, win a set or something, I'm like bah.
A set? Is that what it's called?
Well, you play sets. Yeah, tennis is like a lot of small games and things like that.
That's how you know Roger Federer.
Yeah, because he's my best. I play with him. is who I play with.
Because he lives in Perth.
He taught me the blah.
You know what I got? I got the crocodile. You know, I saw your little crocodile. It's like this really fun game where like you push down the teeth, and one makes the thing go down, and it changes every time when you pull it back up. Like, I don't know how it does it. It must it picks like a random tooth.
Random tooth every time.
Yeah,
you
I got
press
that.
The teeth.
Got that, and I was
it's
like,
a good drinking game.
I was like, I saw this at Aidan's house like 3 weeks ago. Yeah, just fun fact. I got it. It's
Good fun.
You know, it's
Good
fun.
game. I think.
What movies have you seen then?
That was one segue.
Sorry, were you going to say something?
I think I did have some other point, but I don't think it was.
Was it about crocodile? You see any
Awful
crocodiles in New
important.
Zealand?
No, I saw a log at one point where I was like,
A
"Damn,
log?
Is that a crocodile
Oh, right.
in the water?" No.
Hey, bro, you got to watch out for the crocs.
Watch out for the crocs, boo. Yeah.
Do you have any like New Zealand beer?
Yeah, actually, what I was drinking when I was there was a beer called, I think it was called Tuatara.
Any good?
So good. It was a cloudy pale ale, and I don't know.
That sounds right up your alley.
It was just one of the first beers I tried, and I was like, I'm just gonna stick with this for a bit, and
Yeah, you're like, I'm not going to try anything else.
always had a few stocked up in the camper van at times and stuff.
Yeah,
Can I
okay.
actually tell a camper van story?
Go ahead, please.
Just because
The floor is yours.
It's a gripping, tense tale.
It's like an episode of Top Gear.
I told you ages ago that I want to tell this on the pod.
No, of course, go ahead.
So yeah, Nicole and I, we had a camper van. That's how we traveled New Zealand. And basically, it was lovely weather when we were in a hotel in Auckland over New Year's, and then we picked up the camper van on the 2nd of Jan, and the rain hit. And it was like, oh shit, like some activities were getting cancelled, which we did rebook different activities that were kind of equally as fun as the other activities. But
Zip lining and stuff.
it was a shame that we couldn't do the activities that we'd intended to do. Anyways, we were up in this place, Bay of Islands, which is a beautiful, picturesque, like, I got a photo of me up and Nicole up on the hill, and behind you can just see islands and islands and islands. It's a shame it's clearly a cloudy day. Usually it will be a tropical, sunny, like you can just see islands and like.
I have a quick question. I was surprised to hear how much rain there was. So
That's the point.
We're not the season like we are in Australia then.
So no, it's summer. It shouldn't be like that.
Okay.
The amount of like Kiwis and just people that lived in New Zealand that like were like, I'm
don't
so
get it.
sorry. Like
Oh, okay,
this is not what it's like here.
Yeah. Okay.
Basically, like a monsoon hit one of the islands a little bit north of New Zealand,
Okay.
and all of the like effects of that all hit the North Island whilst we were there. And so we sort of came down from the Bay of Islands, and it was like raining, and we came down, it stopped. But then we had to go up this other finger to go back to like the top of New Zealand, to a place called Coromandel. Usually picturesque. We hadn't booked anything there because I said to Nick, I was like, we're going to do a lot of the stuff that you want to do here, because my stuff is like zip lining, whitewater rafting, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
She just loves like a paddle board, sit at the beach, that kind of thing. So I said to her, this is all scheduled. This is a bit of a you couple of days whilst we were up there. And as we headed up there, this traffic coming the other way was like stop start. And we're like, what's this shit? Like, why does it stop start that way? It was like the 4th of Jan, so our guess is people been up there for the New Year's, now they're coming back. And then as we got there, it started getting wetter and wetter and wetter. And then the next thing we know, we're on a road. For an hour, there is a road that is on the side of a cliff. It is on a cliff edge, and then you have like literally a sharp mountain up on the other side. And we're on the cliff edge, obviously a 2-way road as we're driving. And it's windy, and it was so wet. And the amount of times Nick like shat herself as we were doing it was crazy. Then that 2-way road merges into, at one point, the width of a car. One car, but it's still technically a 2-way road. So, do you know what I mean? The road just thins out, and both lanes
it's like
come
similar
together.
in England. They have a weird way of like 2 cars will go in the same way, and one you have to like pull over the other one to go in.
But the thing is, with this, you're not
couldn't
pulling
pull
over
over.
into a field.
Yeah.
You're like, there's a cliff there.
There's like cliff and just fucking rocks.
And so we're driving in like monsoonal weather, and there's like a truck. I think it was a van that was coming the other way, and we have to like stop, start, like just shift past each other, going past this cliff. If you've seen the Top Gear, I think it's the South American special, and there's a scene on a cliff there. It's
That's a
literally
good clip to watch if you need to envision it.
Yes.
That's the clip that you sent me, and
It's very tense. Like your wheel is literally on the cliff edge as you're passing these.
that
So fucking tense. Like
that seems very dangerous.
Nick was like, I'm sorry I wasn't talking to you on that drive. And I was like, Nick, I'm glad you didn't. Like, you don't understand how much I had to concentrate on this drive. Anyways, we got to Coromandel. Crossed cliffs and paths, and we got to Coromandel. And we check our phones, and then we're like, oh shit, Coromandel has been given an evacuation warning for all like campers and anyone that's not staying in a proper house. And we're like, oh great, well, it's gonna be nighttime soon, and there's big fucking cliffs back that way, so we're gonna have to stay here for the night. Which I got 2 hours sleep that night. The van was like rocking around, like literally the amount of times I woke up and was like, are we about to flip over? Like, or is the roof about to break off? The van started leaking. We had to layer the whole floor with towels in the van.
What the hell?
And then the next day I went up to like the person on the campsite and I was like, just want to let you know, we're leaving. I was like, I know we're meant to be here for a few more days. I'm not going to ask you for your money back. As we left, roads were completely flooded. Like we drove on some roads that we probably shouldn't have driven on. Like there was one point where we went through a puddle so big that my entire windscreen I couldn't see because the water just went up the top of it, and there was a car coming the other way and they had to like swerve out of the way of us. Basically within an hour, Coromandel was cut off from the rest of the world, well, rest of New Zealand. So we were lucky that we cut off, and this is actually a Doctor Who story. In the end, it was like midday and we went to this city called Hamilton, which we hadn't even planned on going to. And we were like, fuck, what are we going to do? Like, so we had to like desperately find sites, and everything we owned was wet. So we did like a big boat wash when we got to that site, and it was all scramble. And then at about like 5:30 p.m, the sun was just setting, and it was that beautiful, very cloudy sky, but it wasn't raining. So the sky was all like a purple as the sun was setting. I just turned to Nick. We'd finished everything. Everything was calm. We'd reset. And I was like, Nick,
Time for Marigold.
I'm just gonna go read my book and have a beer on the edge of the edge of the van.
Okay.
And so I sat there on the edge of the van with a fucking Chuatara beer and read a massive chunk of the 10th Planet as the sun set. And it was like, fuck, that was one of the highlights of the trip, just because it was like I could finally breathe.
Yeah.
After a few days of like getting more and more and more tense, I finally sat down with the 10th Planet and read the First Doctor's final adventure with lovely beer. And I'd like completely reset after that.
Wow.
So that was a very long story.
No, not at all.
But
Please.
it was a tense tale.
I love that.
I'm sorry, that was like a 6-minute story. That was all me talking. But I need to get better at summarizing stories.
I think I'm absolutely fine with you doing it, but I don't think it was 6 minutes.
Oh, okay.
But that's fine. You did it.
But it was longer than 6 minutes?
100%. That's fine.
Well, actually, I can tell you this. We had 6 minutes left on the timer.
That was
as
6
I started
minutes.
The story. Yeah.
That was 6 minutes.
This is a 6-minute story. Fuck. Now I know that Conor was just bored listening
I
to me.
wasn't bored at all. I mean, I'd already heard it, but I wasn't bored at all. I was really engaged, actually.
You were thrilled.
Stop it. You're making me sound like a dick. All right, do you want to talk about some stuff we watched? Have you seen Avatar yet?
I've not seen Avatar. Have you seen Avatar?
Me neither. Okay.
Okay,
All right,
well...
what did you watch?
Hold on, let's introduce the segment, shall we?
Oh, you got a segment? This is the one that always gives us copyright strike?
Well, what we like to do here is we like to go, what did we watch this week? But what we're going to do, because it's been a month since
This
we've
month,
seen each other, is we're going to do a quick fire. What did we watch this month?
Okay, you got a new one. Good lad.
It's the same one we used last time for this segment.
Is it?
We've
That
only
was a
done
long
once,
time ago.
but, yeah.
All right, you
All right,
go
quick
one.
fire, like one sentence thing.
You go
what did
one.
we watch this month? Okay.
I'm trying to think what I watched.
This month I watched The Boys season 2.
Oh my god, so you haven't even watched season 3
I
yet?
finally continued with The Boys.
Okay,
'cause
what did you think?
I was in a bad headspace when I watched season 1, so I was like, I didn't
Okay.
really like it, so I didn't continue it.
Okay.
I watched season 2 and I was like, this was great, and I really loved season 2.
Awesome.
I just thought it was like fun, and just a lot of fun, and like I almost cried in the finale. So, what's next for you?
Okay. I watched The Bear.
Ah, we love The Bear.
I watched The Bear.
Yep.
I
Like
thought
The
it was good.
Very good.
I thought it was good.
Not amazing.
I didn't love it. I thought it was good.
All right, moving on.
I thought it was good.
I loved it. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I know you did. That's the problem. You said it was fucking fantastic. I thought it was good.
Right, okay, that's fine. That's fair.
I thought, I think could do with better characters. That's all I'll say.
Oh no, okay, no, this is too long of a conversation for us to have right
No,
now.
I think like Carmen, like Bear, is a great character. Okay, I think there's like 3 good characters.
Sydney's amazing.
Everyone else is like background noise and
No,
yeah,
no. All right, we're moving on.
They are.
Moving on.
They are,
I'm going to say this
definitely.
one because I know you watched it as well recently. The menu, I think, starts off really good until
Yeah.
you realize what it's about, and then you realize that the movie suffers for the exact thing that it's trying to make a commentary on.
I knew the commentary, so I was kind of prepared for that. I think it was fine. I liked it. It was a good watch, but I think once you finish it, you're done with it. You forget about it. You're never going to watch it again.
It's all about sometimes you don't need divine art. You just need to eat a fucking cheeseburger.
Yeah,
and
but I think it was a bit wanky as well at times.
That's the thing. And I watched it and I was like, this movie, like, it doesn't satisfy me for divine art, nor does it satisfy me for being a cheeseburger. It just, like, if it was just a cheeseburger, then in the end, let's go full out slasher trying to hunt the people on the island or something like that. I just felt like it didn't reward in the end. And
I think it was a fun watch, but, like, again, once it's over, it's like... They made, like, jokes, and it just didn't really land for me. Like, title jokes, I thought were, like, really dumb and silly and really on the nose.
I stopped reading them, if I'm honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. No, but I think Anna Taylor-Joy and Ray Fiennes are really great in it. I think Nick Holtz is normally great. I think he didn't fit the movie, like, at all. I didn't think he was good in it at all.
I think the movie didn't know what they were doing with him.
Yeah, because I didn't. I had to fucking Google what the fuck.
Did you start the movie thinking you were watching the movie through his perspective?
Not really, no.
I thought he was the main character.
I knew a bit too much about it, I think.
Okay, I didn't.
Yeah.
And I got like 45 minutes in, and all of a sudden I was like, I feel like we started this off in Nicholas Holt's shoes.
Yeah.
And now we're in Anya Taylor-Joy's shoes, which I prefer because I thought she was great in it.
Yeah,
but...
she's always great. I think he's normally dope, but I think, honestly, I think he was just a bit miscast, in my opinion.
What else did you watch this month?
Banshees of Inisherin.
Banshees of Inisherin.
Loved it.
Loved it. I think it's amazing.
Fucking loved it.
Yep. I think it's a really good film.
I really fucking loved it. I took my mum to go see it. I needed to get out of the house. Inisherin?
Inisherin.
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 I ain't no Sharon.
I ain't no Sharon. I fucking loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I think the script was... It's very rare you go to see a movie like this with like, wow, this is like so well written. And I loved every conversation that was being had. I really just... I don't really have anything bad to say about it. I think it was maybe a little bit too long. But apart from that, I loved everything about it.
Everything about the film is amazing.
Yeah.
But I think you're so right. Like, the script is just so good.
So I was talking about, I said before about laughing.
Yeah.
It's such a fucking funny movie. I laughed so hard.
Did you have many people in your cinema?
That's the thing. Not really.
Okay.
Did you?
I went with Andy, and we went. I think he'd been out for 2 days. Because I said to him, he loves In Bruges. In Bruges.
Yeah, same director.
So I was like, you got to come see this. And Andy loves it when I take him to obscure movies that he knows nothing about. So we went to that, and I wanted to see it before I went to New Zealand because I left like 2 days after it came out.
Yeah.
And so we had a full cinema.
Wow, that's great.
And it was laughing. Everyone loved it. Like when they were throwing
stuff.
Throwing stuff at doors. Like the audience was going like, But as we left the cinema, a lady comes up to us and goes, if that's the best film of 2023, I don't think I'll be watching many films then. Yeah. And I was like, excuse fucking me.
I can see why.
Hear this audience response, woman.
I can see why people think that way. I think it's a film that we'd like. It's funny because I took my mum to go see it, and she actually read it. Well, all she really spoke about was how handsome Colin Farrell is.
He's a sexy man.
And he is. But I was like, Mum, come on. Yeah. Other things happened. But I think it's the first time since, I think, BoJack with a piece of art that handled such devastating, depressing themes with humor that generally just made me like belly laugh.
It's very funny.
It's so fucking funny. Yeah. And it's crazy because I left that theater in my Time Lord Victorious phase, in my Time Lord Victorious phase, and I was like, it's a very depressing film, Mum. She's like, you sure you want to go see it? And I was like, hell yeah, let's go. Yeah. And like, I loved it. I really, really fucked with it. I thought it was great.
I also recently saw The Fabelmans, which is Steven Spielberg's new film.
Of course, yeah.
Which, it's very fun. It definitely is just like, you kind of watch it, and I left the cinema on a high. I was like, I fucking love that. I feel so great about creativity in film right now. And then at like 7 p.m, I was like, oh, I watched The Fabelmans today, didn't I? And I kind of forgot it pretty quick that I had watched it. But it is very good. It is very, very good. And I think it's funny. There's jokes that work. It looks awesome. I think it's one of Spielberg's best films in a while. I feel like Spielberg's like had a bit of a resurgence.
He definitely has, yeah.
Like he made some dodgy films for a while.
Ready Player One.
Yeah. But then
I like Bridge of Spies, but it's not very, very memorable. It's
Yeah,
like kind of like the
I
menu
agree.
where you watch it once.
I've
and
got
you
it on
go,
Blu-ray,
I
and
enjoyed
sometimes I'm
that.
like, oh, I have it on Blu-ray.
Yeah, you watch it once, you're like, that was a good watch, but you don't want to like
Yeah.
ever put it in again. Yeah.
But he had West Side Story last year, which was amazing. And there,
Christ, was that last year? Dude,
yeah.
time is going quick.
and now this, and
Yeah.
I think he's back, and he knows what he's doing. He really does know what he's doing.
No, of
It's a
course,
great
yeah.
film.
I don't think I'll watch it, but I'm glad he did it.
Yeah, it's a good film. What else have you seen?
So we watched The Last of Us.
We have episode 1 of Last of Us is out. Mm-hmm. You didn't like it quite as much as me, I gather.
I think it was. I actually had a really great time with it. I really did. I really enjoyed it. I think the world building is amazing. I think the casting was really interested, and I'm convinced so far.
Yep.
I was a little bit worried about it. I think directing wise, like there's some scenes where like I feel like I'm playing the game, especially in like the car scene. I won't spoil stuff. It was like it's like you're playing the game, and I really
almost feel like-
like that.
Oh, okay, that's good. Right, I thought you were saying.
Oh no, I really like that.
Cool,
I
good,
really
yeah.
like that. I guess my one criticism is that, and to use this for one more time, a double-edged sword, Aidan.
Hit me.
I didn't want it
Stab
to
me.
end. Didn't want it to end. But I felt like also on the other end of the sword, I felt like the first 30 minutes and the majority of the other episode was like vastly different. It almost kind of felt like to me that they put like episode 1 and 2 and kind of like put them together. Where I feel like maybe they could have done like an episode 1, episode 2 like premiere and then be separate episodes.
It is.
That's what I thought.
So interesting that you say that.
Okay.
Because my insider info from listening through to the official Last of Us podcast, which has Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann as they were the guests on the first episode. It's hosted by Troy Baker, who plays Joel in the original game.
Yep.
Craig Mazin said basically this was because I was like, I'm so confused because it's a 9-episode series, and I was like, I've
thought it was
known
8,
for
okay.
I've known for years it was going to be 10. And then they put out the dates of the episodes and it's going to be 9. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I've heard Craig
okay.
Mazin say it's 10.
Okay, now it's 1 and 2.
What they said was 1
Yeah.
and 2 was put together, not because like they wanted like a feature-length premiere, but purely because, and this is a wanky filmmaking term for you all, the inciting incident is the moment that kickstarts a story, right? And the inciting incident of The Last of Us is when Joel has to meet Ellie and when he's given Ellie as cargo. And that wasn't going to happen till like midway through episode 2. And so the people on HBO, and I also want to bring this back to Doctor Who, the people at HBO, like the executive producers at HBO said, no, like, we love what you're doing, but you need to combine episode 1 and 2 because if you just give them episode 1, no one has a reason to come back from episode 2. So episode 1 was
Totally
going to
get
end, the end of the flashbacks happen of the previous, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And then the first few scenes of 20 years later happen where Joel dumps something into the fire. That was going to be the final shot of episode 1.
Okay.
So that maybe gives you a bit of idea of how it was going to be split.
Yeah.
So what I want to say is that Craig and Neil both were like, that's so right of Disney to do that, of HBO to do that, because that's good advice. The point of an executive producer and people from HBO is to think of how an audience is going to react to a show.
That's
right?
how a good producer
Because they want
talks, yeah.
audience to come back next week.
Of course, yeah.
And they said, you don't give them a reason to come back next week. You've made like a really good 45-minute film, you know, but
excellent. 45.
An excellent 45-minute film.
That part I thought was fucking amazing. I don't think they could have done it better, to be honest.
But there's nothing to bring the audience back next week. No matter how good it is, there's no loose threads or anything. The moment you bring Ellie in, that's when it's like, oh, we have a story and we're going to get going now. This is the start of the story. And so I know you're a bit hesitant of the Disney side of things at the moment. I know that we do know there is a little bit of Disney feedback going on that Russell said going into Doctor Who
But it sounded good,
at
though.
Disney. Yes. I think...
What producer or company says spend more money? Like, that's actually pretty
it is good.
refreshing.
I think people get scared when they hear that executive producers are making decisions and forget that
Kathleen Kennedy.
okay, look, Star Wars is a bit of a rough state, but I think people forget that is an executive producer's. It's half of their job. Another half is money and other side of things, but half of their job is making sure the audience is coming back and making sure they're hooked from the first 10 minutes of an episode, which is what Russell's problem was with the script, apparently.
That is interesting as well.
So I think don't be worried that there's executive producers making decisions. They know what they're doing most of the time.
Yeah.
Depends who's making the decisions, but it's not Kathleen Kennedy, so it's okay.
Real quick comment on that. I agree, by the way, with everything that you said. I think it was great that HBO said that. For me personally, because I know Disney and Amazon Prime do this. They do release like 3 or 2 episodes at once. Mm-hmm. For me personally, I would have been just a little bit more satisfied if we had 2 episodes that we could just watch, because like when they're kind of like combined together, to me it felt like a bit of like mixed pacing. Okay. But no, definitely. And I guess one only other thing to say is something I can't say about spoiling it, but I'll just say like at the end I feel like a reveal was quite rushed.
No, I agree. That's my one flaw. It's not.
But you should watch it, by the way.
You should watch Last of Us because it is very good.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was actually, it's not the best part I've ever seen, but I think it was pretty. The first 30 minutes, again, I don't think they could have done. Do you know? It's interesting to comment. Like I would wonder if like, I feel like it's the kind of show my dad would like, not my mum from a fucking million miles, but my dad maybe. But like, I would love to have a conversation with someone who hasn't played the games, because I think the biggest problem with me going to the show is like I have to detach myself that it's not the characters from the game. Like, well, it's not the act. You know, it is the characters, but it's not like the same, and that's kind of hard to detach from.
And I'd almost argue. I know you do love the game and stuff, but I'd almost argue that I actually love them even more.
100%, yeah, I do totally, yeah, 100%, yeah.
By far, my favorite games of all time, both games, and yeah, I love them so much. And my best friend, who's my cinematographer on my films, Dan, he's never played them. Funnily enough, his girlfriend has. Fiance, actually. And she's...
Oh, wow. Was that recent?
Yeah, Christmas Day. Or Christmas Eve, it might have happened. I don't know. Anyways. So I told her, I was like, got to get fucking Dan to watch it. And she was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. I want to watch it. She got him to watch it, and so he doesn't know anything about what's coming.
It's interesting,
and he like loved it. He was like, "I'm shook, like it broke me, like I fucking love that." And I was like, "That's so good," because the show is like 30% for us, but like 30% for game fans, but like surely it's like 70% at least for a new audience that have never played the game before.
Said the complete opposite yesterday.
Really?
I did, yeah. I'm interested to see what the demographic is for the people who have, or at least know the story.
Right.
And I'm very interested to see, because like from what I've seen from trailers, it seems like the first game is going to be the first season.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do with season 2. I know like Neil Druckmann said some stuff about maybe possibly doing like the seasons between complete stuff we don't see.
He said the opposite.
Oh, he said the opposite?
He said, I've got no interest in filler.
So what? So we're going to get part 2, which again, we won't get into, but we know what happens in part 2. So I'm interested to see what they do about that. Sorry. So no, what he said, is part 3, like season 3 could be a continuation on that they wouldn't do in the games. Is that what you said? Or?
No, I think...
or will it just be 2 seasons?
Well, I think they're going to do a part 3 of The Last of Us. Neil Druckmann recently said, I think there's more to tell.
Okay.
So they're going to make
that's going to be.
They're going to make a 3rd game.
I'm ready to be disappointed again.
Well, I love the 2nd game so much.
I know you
Anyways,
do.
Anything else you've watched over the break?
I think that I rewatched The Descendants, which I think is a lovely film.
Sure. I've never seen it.
Very emotional.
Okay.
I would recommend it. It's all shot in Hawaii. It looks beautiful. It's George Clooney. It's a very upsetting movie, but I think it's very beautiful.
Okay.
I loved it. I rewatched it on like Saturday night after the menu. Yeah, I think that is it.
That's it?
I think that's it. No Doctor Who this year.
No Doctor Who. You didn't watch A Christmas Carol like you usually do?
No, I didn't. No, actually, I didn't do that.
Failure.
Sorry, what are you doing? Okay?
No, I knew there was something else I wanted to say. So 2 small things. The first one, very brief. Glass Onion, I thought was Knives Out, a Glass Onion, I thought was like pretty good the first time I watched it. I wasn't blown away. Rewatched it when I was on holiday. Because my girlfriend, surprisingly, who hates anything that's good in film and TV, was like, I really want to watch that. And I was like, sure. And she's like, yeah, I like Knives Out. And so we watched it together, and we both loved it. I think like an experience of me and her together, just like laughing our asses off in the hotel room. Like, I just loved it. Like, I really, the second time was like, I fucking rate this a lot.
Can I make a funny comment about
Sure.
Knives Out, Glass Onion? I walked up, like, I was just having drinks in the garden with, like, my mates, and I walked up to grab a beer from the fridge, and my mum was watching Glass Onion. My dad was, like, passed out on the couch snoring. My mum was watching Glass Onion. I don't know who done it or anything like that, but I see, again, I won't say, I see who is murdered, and I was like, for fuck's sake, I literally just walked up in the worst time. I saw who was killed, and... But my mom's like, I'm really enjoying this. And I was like, yeah, have you seen the first one? She's like, first one? I was like, it's the second one. And she's like, is it? And I'm like, yeah, but it's only Daniel Craig. Like, Daniel Craig comes back. And
that's
and
good,
she was
though.
Like,
because
she still wants to watch the first one. So my mom's a Ryan Johnson fan.
I saw an interview
with
of Ryan Johnson where he said, I'm tried really hard to get rid of a Knives Out mystery on the title.
He was like, why wouldn't you? It's
he was
so,
like,
I saw that. That's such a fucking Netflix thing. They're dumbasses.
Because it's obvious he's inspired by the Agatha Christie movies, so books.
An Agatha Christie story.
Which is a Doctor Who reference, I guess, technically, if you're still listening as a Doctor Who fan.
Yeah.
And which were all just like stories that weren't connected and stuff. And so he was like, I just want Bertolt Blanc to be the Benoit Blanc to be the main guy, and there's no connection between each movie and stuff like that.
That was my biggest question. Was like mostly like, you know, what are the connections between the first movie and there's none. I heard.
Other than Blanc, who's great.
I'm not going to watch it though. You know me.
I think it's really good. But I also know that you're not going to like it.
I dare you. I saw my mum watching it.
I know what's for you and what's not for you.
I saw mum watching it, and I'm like, you know what? I can respect Ryan as a director, but like, these characters look annoying. I don't know if I can like deal with it. So I was like, no, I'm not going to do it.
The final thing I'll touch on very quickly is I've said a few times I was very hurt by Star Wars over the last like.
You finished Andor?
That's not what I'm going to mention. Ooh. There's a reference to it, but very hurt by Star Wars. Not hurt. I don't really give a fuck. It's just a movie and TV show. But
do you care? We all care about it.
I was pissed off when they ended. When the sequel trilogy had no plan and it was just a mess of.
You punched a few walls.
Oh, fucking...
Was that your Time Lord Victorious phase?
That was my Time Lord Victorious phase.
Okay.
I'd always stood up for the sequel trilogy, and then like the last one was so bad that I was like, this is fucked. Anyways, and I didn't like anything they were doing with the shows. I think Mando's good fun. It's nothing incredible, but I think it's good fun.
New seasons in March, baby.
March 1st. Didn't give a fuck for Boba Fett. I thought Kenobi was a stupid fucking cash grab. And then Andor came out, and I was like, this is the best Star Wars we've got on Disney. And then I wasn't going to watch it because there's a lot of animations. Bad Batch is fine. I've seen the first season. I'm not going back to the new season. I was in a pub and someone was like, Aidan, you need to watch Tales of the Jedi. And I said, Chims, I don't give a fuck. And he was like, Aidan, and he pitched it to me in like 2 sentences. And I was like, all right, I'm going on a trip. I'm looking for a few like things to download on my phone that I don't mind. I'm just watching it on my phone, which is how I watched The Boys season 2. And so I downloaded Tales of the Jedi. And what I will tell you is it's great. It is great. It's 6 episodes. It's kind of an anthology, kind of not. They're all 15 minutes long, so there's no fat at all. It's Dave Filoni just making a pure story. And he does a really good job at it. And that's all I'll say.
Yeah, I gave you TV shows to watch all the time. You don't listen to me. I said watch True Detective season 1, which I stand by being a masterpiece.
Which I wouldn't watch on my phone.
Yeah, fuck, you got me there. All right. Really? You care about that much? You think you're going to enjoy it that much?
Maybe.
Did you not have a TV in the thing?
Not in the van. Oh, there was a small one.
Did you bring your laptop or anything?
Play.
You couldn't bring up.
I did, but this screen isn't that good.
Dude, I still got my laptop from year 11. It's 1080p.
Yeah, this is 1080p.
No way. That's 4K, isn't it?
I think it's 1080, but this, in certain light, you can see how fucked the screen is. But that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, yeah, Tales of the Jedi, good fun.
Yeah, but still, I dead set think that True Detective is like one of the best shows I've watched in years, and you're gonna love it. Seriously, when you start it, you're gonna never shut up about it.
Don't remind me every day, because that will make me not watch it.
I won't. I never
But
do.
but no, like, you actually don't. No,
I literally don't. I never.
but like
I don't
every
text you.
every
No, I
3
don't.
months, just be like, Aidan,
3 months.
well, because I've got lots of things I want to watch. That
so
I know
what? We're talking in April.
in March. In March, you can do it. Okay, in March.
What's on the list?
I want to watch the 2 shows that came out at the same time that always confuse me as to who made what. But the Devil's Hour, and so the Peter Capaldi show, and the David Tennant, the one that both shows were made by Moffat in a way.
I watched the first episodes of Inside Man.
Right, that's the other one. Yeah.
We'll
I wanna
talk about
watch
when you
both.
watch it. But no, definitely watch it. But we'll talk about it. When
I want to watch both. I want to watch season 3 of The Boys, which I have started actually. And then there's
Okay.
one other show that I wanted to watch, but I can't quite remember what it was right now.
Okay.
But yeah, they're like my top hits at the moment.
I definitely need like a new show to watch. I'm either going to watch like Seinfeld or Mr. Robot.
Mr. Robot was
Yeah.
what I was about to say. There we
But
go.
I feel like if I watch Mr. Robot, it needs to be a double-edged sword. I said I was going to say it last time, and I did it again. All right, I'm talking. This end is True Detective, just season 1. I didn't watch past that.
Okay, but you'll watch all 4 of Mr. Robot, correct?
Yeah, but True Detective is it's. Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
But no, True Detective is like it's a single story. Like it doesn't continue off the episodes. That's the story.
Yeah,
done.
yeah. I just wanted to make sure that you weren't like...
Why would I watch one season of?
Because Mr. Robot is like, first season's incredible, second season is really good, but it's very baggy in the first half of the second season.
I'm
And
pretty patient.
3's incredible and 4's incredible.
Do you know what I was thinking the other day though? I think that you'd. I know you're not going to watch this. Maybe later on in the year, but maybe during winter. Winter's a really good time to watch the show. I think this year you need to watch The Sopranos.
I do. That is actually on my list on my phone.
Because I think with Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, I'd say it is like up there with like the greatest show of all time. I generally like. I see memes every day. I love it. I rewatch scenes like pretty much every day. I think.
Okay.
I generally think it's like amazing.
What I'll say is I'm getting more into watching a season of a show, even if it came out 20 years ago. Watching a season, taking a break, doing some other shows, coming back
Like
to
back in the
like
day
3 or
when
4
like a
months
season
later.
would come out and you had
Because
to go wait a year. I'm
I
not saying you're
feel
going to wait
like-
a year, you know what I mean?
I feel
You
like
can if you want.
I binge a lot of shows, and by the time you're up to like season 3 or 4, you're kind of like, okay, I've just watched 20 episodes of this already.
Definitely, you get stagnant and you want to get to the final a
Yeah.
little bit. You
So it's
kinda
nice
try and
to
rush
take
to the
breaks.
final. Yeah.
Speaking of finals, the opposite of a final is the premiere, such as the pilot.
Yes. God, it's just nearly 3 hours.
2, nearly 2. We're all good. The pilot, Conor, will you tell me out of 10 what you thought of the pilot?
You know what?
please?
Seriously, I'm shocked. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. I actually dead set think it's so fun.
Okay.
But the villain's a nothing burger. I need a pee. That's kind of it.
Okay, well, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Really? After all the hype you gave it?
I enjoyed it, but there's nothing there.
We just spoke about everything that was there.
No, I said it's a lot of fun. The performances, everything's great, but like, there's
Alright.
nothing there in the story.
I'm not gonna do this to you, but like there's episodes you've given 7 to that are like way worse than
I'm
this.
sure. I
Give it a 7.5.
7.5.
Yeah, go on.
That's my highest offer.
I'm not trying to make you do 8. Yeah, your highest. Yeah,
My highest
we're
offer
on
is
Dragon's
7.5.
Den. We're like, I'll push to 7.5. That's it.
Which I think it deserves. I'm happy to give it.
I think it
7.5.
deserves that. I think 8 and 7.5 is good.
Okay. No fist bump though. We didn't give the same score.
Yeah, you had to go and ruin it, didn't you? You didn't want to go to an 8. You just wanted to go off at 0.5%. That's okay. Then we got Smile next week.
I was about to ask what's next week, Conor. Smile.
That's written by the guy who did In the Forest with the Show.
Is it? I'm not.
Something
I don't remember
Doyle.
who wrote it.
Something
Is
Doyle.
it Frank?
Frank Doyle? Well, Crispy would know.
Well, yeah, because he loves In the Forest of the Shite.
Frank Conan Doyle?
Conor, it's been good. No, Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yeah,
is
Arthur
the
Conan.
Sherlock
That's
guy.
Sherlock, yeah.
Frank.
That looks kind of fucking creepy.
That's close. Frank Cottrell Boyce. This
looks
still-
fucking creepy.
I'm gonna put this on the screen. This
Yeah,
is
can you put
fucked.
that actually looks... They don't look anywhere near that menacing in the
That's
actual show.
Terrifying. What the fuck? All right, Conor. It has been a pleasure to be back. I'm
You
so glad
too.
we're back. I'm happy. I enjoyed filming this episode. Did you?
I loved it. It's so good to be back, honestly. Thank you for getting me out of my depressive state. Like I said to Dan, I love you, brother. I'm so glad I like your little red shorts. Like you've been surf lifesaving today or something.
I feel like
Jeez, you opened your legs quite a bit there, Christ. What the fuck's going on?
they're quite short red shorts, and I feel like the kind of guy that's gonna rock up at like
Did your mum
mum's
get you for
house and go
Christmas?
like, oh, does your pool need fixing? You know what I'm saying?
I
like
catch
a
it.
porn star from the 80s.
Who got you them for Christmas?
My mum.
Dude, my mum got me these as well, and they're like way too like
yeah.
they're the same, bro. They're literally like
Well,
I
when
sit down, I can feel my ass like
When I
about to,
first
like,
put
rip
them on,
out.
I was like, these are way too short. But
Yeah.
I've like kind of grown to love them. I'm like,
And so that's literally what I was about to say when I first put them on. I'm like, oh, these are too tight. Now I'm like, these are like a dream.
elite. I like them.
This is why we do a show together. We just love how
Love
mums
it.
buying us shorts that are a little bit too small.
They show a little bit too much leg.
a little bit too
of
much
scrotum.
bulge, but it's okay.
Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at @FitDoctor. I hope you're still here. I know we kind of went off topic a lot here, but I hope that
They
you are
love
still
that
around. Love you, Connor. Love you, listeners.
Bro, thank you.
Subscribe. Our camera has just
Love
turned
you guys.
off, so we're going to do this last part in darkness. Subscribe. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at @FitDoctor.
Hello, darkness,
My old friend. And we'll see you on next week for
The
Smile.
50% boys are back again.
Do you remember the lyrics to our song? Did you sing the song? I never finished an episode that, not out of any spite, but whilst I was away, all the episodes
my
that you
God.
did, I listened to the first half
Yeah,
hour.
no, we did it with we did it all every time. Yeah.
So you always sung the song, so you remember
Sure
it.
did. Have you forgotten it?
Yeah, that's it.
Are you joking?
It's
It's Aidan.
I know, I'm
and
joking.
Connor's podcast. Aidan forgot the lyrics.
We're back.
He forgot the lyrics. Hey,
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
you're the Ninth Doctor now.
I am.
We got a bit sauce, didn't we?
Yeah, quite a bit of gin. I thought I'd turn up for the gin because you said to me, you said,
well, I
what
was
are you
like-
gonna? I said, I'm gonna drink tonight, and you said, you're gonna have fucking one.
No,
And
if I have
no,
two,
it's
I
what you
can
said.
drive.
You
so-
said you're gonna have fucking one.
I didn't say that.
And
I
I
said, how
said,
many
you know-
plan on having?
No, you said, are you gonna have one? Because if you have
say
one,
that.
you did. Your message literally says, are you gonna have one?
I don't think I did.
Because if you have one, I'll drive.
That's
And
a
I
good
was
point.
like,
That's a good point to make, though, isn't it?
It is, but I thought, no, I'm gonna turn up for this fucking guy. I'm gonna drink a bottle of gin.
I said, when you say you're drinking, do you mean one drink? Because if so, I'll drive. And I said that with peace and love. Okay, I kind of did say, but not as mean as it. You made it sound like I was yelling at you.
You said, are you gonna drink fucking one?
Yeah, maybe that's how you perceived it, but I can drive after having like one or two drinks.
Go on then.
No, I can't. I love how it's just black. Are you just gonna put the beer logo? Like,
Bah.